My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Kay Ross.
And you're listening to Watch Out for Fireballs. It is a Games Club podcast.
And this week we're talking about Resident Evil 6, an action game developed and published by Capcom for the Xbox 360, PS3, and PC in 2012.
Yeah, and this is special for a couple of reasons. One, this is produced by Scott. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
And two, this is a two-parter because Resident Evil 6 is long.
It is a huge game. I mean, at least twice as long as any of the other ones, maybe?
It's kind of 4 Resident Evil games jammed together.
Yeah, it's 4 mini REs is what it kind of feels like.
Yeah. With a framing Resident Evil around it. We ate our dessert first when it came to Resident Evil.
We did RE2. I think that was the first Resident Evil game we covered in 2013. Yeah.
This is a pithy way of saying we've done all the good ones.
Yes.
And now we have to do 6 and 0.
Yeah.
At some point.
We are hydraulic fracking the Resident Evil franchise.
Yes. The water's on fire. Repeat. The water is on fire.
I understand that really fracking this franchise would be doing the Gun Survivor games, giving that heavy coverage. There's further
silence.
There's further dregs down there.
Yeah. There's we haven't done Resident Evil Gaiden. Obviously the series keeps going as a thing. In terms of the mainline series, this is fracking.
Yes. Yeah. And it's kind of hard to even know where to begin with this because it is very big, it is very scattered, and the only word that I can think of as a thesis for this, Gary, is incoherence.
It's really, it's got a million problems.
Yes.
As a thing. The incoherence, it's a bad plot poorly told.
Yes.
And figuring out the parts where it is the bad plot and where it's the poor storytelling is kind of hard to suss out. And it's amazing in the ways it's both.
Yes. So in the past, we have said that we enjoy this game. I still think that I do. I still think if you're judging this against a replacement level action game, it probably stands up, right?
Yeah. It's totally possible to have fun.
Yes.
With this, it's how many pebbles can you have in your shoe, and how much do you have to understand even the basic blocking of what's happening.
Right.
And there's a couple different reasons for that. We'll talk about them.
Yeah.
In this, I also think this game is not pulling teeth. There's fun stuff to be had in it. Mm-hmm. It's so much worse than everything that came before.
It is. And
very specifically Resident Evil 5 and 4, and you could say oh, you can't compare everything to Resident Evil 4. I'm comparing this to Resident Evil 5.
Yeah.
And nobody likes that game.
It's
got a lot of problems.
It's got a lot of problems, but it has scenario design, right?
Yeah.
It has encounter design in a way that this doesn't. And I think that incoherence is, yes, it's about the story and the way that it continues the canon snarl, and the Rashomon style storytelling. I think even from a play perspective, this is just none of the parts of this actually meet. And unfortunately, we're not sitting here examining this in a vacuum, right? Yeah.
This is something where the series context not only matters to us, but it mattered a lot to the creation of this.
Yes.
It's another Resident Evil breaking point. It's the Code Veronica slot of we've done this form as hard as we think we can. Mm-hmm. I think the difference is they were wrong this time. In Code Veronica, I like Code Veronica just fine. I think it's the weakest of those first 4.
Yeah.
You could it did feel a little bit like we couldn't do that anymore. This felt like in pursuit of trying to find new ways to do a thing that wasn't broken, they ruined all of the things that did work.
Yes.
Like this is by far the most complicated mechanically Resident Evil game that exists.
Yeah.
They added so much complexity to this, both in the plot and the mechanics, without as much thought as maybe I would want.
Yeah, it is incredibly shallow.
Yeah. Well, it's I don't know that it's shallow. Like I think it's interesting. Playing it is shallow. If you want to go deep into it, this is the most robust any of these mechanics have ever been.
Yeah.
There's a lot of depth to it. If you watch somebody play at a high level of this game, there's a lot going on.
I guess I'm not thinking about it in terms of like shallowness, like in the hands or just like the ways that, the individual moves and stuff can be strung together. I'm talking about shallowness in terms of this, like the encounters that it puts in front of you. It like in RE4, you do way more interesting stuff with far less, I guess.
Yeah. You do shitty shadows of those versions here.
Yes.
Of this thing. But if you have mastered this, you can play this really, really impressively.
Yeah.
The game doesn't demand it, nor does it teach it to you, nor do I find doing well at this particularly fun because of that encounter design
Yeah.
that you're talking about. Like, tons of problems. Really interesting. Perfect WoF game.
Yeah.
I don't want to play it again.
No.
2 is good for me, once with co-op and once alone. And the alone one was much harder to get through.
Yeah.
So we have to get into it. There's so many fucking things to say about this. So this is the biggest plot they've had as well. This is this globe spanning bioterrorism plot executed by an organization called Neo Umbrella. There's also the family. There's also the BSAA. There's all the orgs are here, all your favorite orgs. And you play these 4 mini campaigns, each of which is based on a different protagonist, and each specifically is calling back to a specific Resident Evil style.
Yes.
This was meant to be kind of this feels like a thesis of doing kind of a greatest hits. Like, how can we be all Resident Evils? Each of these different ones, you go and you deal with different threats. You see kind of a Rashomon, as you mentioned. You get a little bit of a view of the overarching story and conspiracy, which I cannot stress enough is bad.
Yeah.
It's not just complicated. It's a dumb story.
I think
it's a really poorly told, really poorly made.
I think I made this point when we talked about, when we did an Abject Suffering about Beyond Two Souls, where that game by default tells the entire story out of order, almost as a way to like obfuscate what is going on with that story in a way that adds no interest, but tries to like perform some sleight of hand to make you feel like it is more ambitious than it is. If you took every element of what happens here, event by event, de-interlaced it and told it chronologically as it goes, it is still really dumb and bad.
Which I had to do because I didn't really get it. The thing. Part of that is, I don't know if you have this in the notes later, but one of the fucking gobsmacking, head-smacking decisions in this, most of the story and lore is told through files that are told through the shoot all the medallions.
Yes, yeah.
Thing. Those have carried forward. Those are in the new remakes and everything. It's a fun little Easter egg.
Yeah.
That's how you get the text of this game. Important shit happens in those. Like it is not trivial.
No,
it's not superfluous. They just decided to offload their storytelling to like a Easter egg hunt. Like it'd be like if in Grand Theft Auto 4, like you found out about Nico's teddy bear from all the packages. Or you found out about his war trauma.
Yeah.
If you collected all 50 packages. It's ludicrous.
It's very important stuff because the actual game itself couldn't be less interested in trying to convey that information to you.
No. Conveying information generally is not this game's strong suit.
No.
So designed for co-op play, there are campaigns, each having different kind of sets of co-op partners, except for one, Ada. You can play that co-op, but you can also play it single player. And each of them, again, harkens back to a different Resident Evil style.
Yeah.
Just throwing this out there, every new person in this game sucks. All these new characters fucking suck.
Yeah.
First up, we got Leon, our boy. He is a federal agent. He's one of the president's super guards here. And he teams up with Helena Harper, who has hair from the band Heart. And she is a Secret Service agent who got framed for killing the president.
Yeah.
And this is meant to be like old Resident Evil. It's been a minute since we had zombies. Everything was, fast zombies. Now we've got classic zombies.
Yes. So like this is going to remind you, like this starts with a biological calamity in a small town, right?
Yes.
Like a 50,000 population town. And then you go beneath the facility there. And yeah, this is the campaign that we're going to be talking about this episode. Next episode, without the generalities, we're going to be talking about the remaining three. But yeah, this is supposed to be like the Resident Evil gothic horror, almost like a classic survival horror resource management kind of thing. Like resources are more scarce in this one.
That's the idea, and you kind of go through a series of set pieces that remind you of the classic Resident Evils, kind of up through 4. You get into the mines and everything. You're doing temple run shit, like you do in the second half of 4. Then we have Chris Redfield, still part of the BSAA. He teams up with a rookie sniper named Piers Nivens, who is a smaller version of him, entirely like drag the corner in MS Paint. He's like a foot shorter.
Yep.
I don't know why they did that. And Piers sucks so fucking bad. And Chris, last game, is all about partners. And the theme of partners, still very important to Chris.
Yeah.
Now it's all about his men.
My men.
And losing his men.
She got my men killed.
Your men, this absolute, like the Sorrow-esque boss fight against the parade of dead twinks that like Chris has left behind. Like it's incredible. Man's pain of Chris Redfield in this is just like very funny.
Yeah.
This is Resident Evil 5. This is a military shooter. Well, also even going further into that. This is how military and how Call of Duty can Resident Evil be. Yes.
Primarily fighting against this kind of new threat that behaves a little bit like the parasite infected. These Javo are what they're called. Yes. All of them have Juggalo makeup. It's ridiculous.
Yes. And they do the Resident Evil trick of instead of naming their monsters, just, using a foreign language.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you look up these monsters, it's like, that's the name for legs. And they decided to call the monster legs. It just sounds cool because it's different language.
All of these are, I think, Serbian. Serbian names is what they are.
This is a Serbian word for tall.
Yeah.
And it's a tall monster.
This is also Jerk Chris. This is traumatized, so if you don't like him brooding and if you don't like Piers just constantly saying, buck up, be a leader, come on.
I don't like Piers saying anything. I don't like any of these. Again, these side characters are rough to me.
Yeah.
Next up, we got another new character, Jake Mueller, who is Albert Wesker's son.
Yep.
We find this out fairly. It's a twist, but like this game's old.
Yeah.
Who is a Mary Sue. Who is exceedingly badass and stuff, and teams up with Sherry Birkin, all the way back from Resident Evil 2.
A welcome addition. Yeah.
Again, everybody who comes back, I like.
Yeah.
It's a little sad that Sherry never got out of this. Like that Sherry's still doing this shit. I feel like
she really should have had a future. Yeah.
Yeah. Like just absolutely taken from her. They team up and their wing is Nemesis. Their wing is the Resident Evil model of Pursuit. Yeah. Like a big, strong monster chasing you. Yeah. It isn't procedural and cool. It's closer to like the Resident Evil 3 remake, but that's the Resident Evil that they're going for.
Yeah.
In that one.
Like one persistent threat that is going to come after you while you're dealing with a bunch of other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't wait to dine on why that doesn't work.
It's real bad. It doesn't work. Yeah. One of the things is the monster's not cool.
No. Just a knock.
Yeah. It looks like he would fight Superman in the 90s. Like it's a real Superman villain.
Yeah. And then the last campaign, like this was initially not playable. I could not imagine playing this first. You have Ada, who is doing basically her separate ways thing again.
Yes.
Like you're playing as her as the connective tissue popping up in all of the rest of these campaigns, giving a little bit more context for what's going on.
Like answering a lot of the plot.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the plot stuff is not clear until this campaign. This to me, I read as Resident Evil as a story mode.
Yeah.
So if we have like classic Resident Evil, action Resident Evil, pursuit Resident Evil, and story Resident Evil, you can kind of squint your eyes and see what they're going for.
Yeah.
Like, let's pay tribute to our legacy with, again, the dumbest fucking story. Each campaign has slightly different gameplay, as we mentioned, different kinds of scenarios. This goes really far.
Yeah.
I love that this is down to the UI and stuff. I think that's actually really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these campaigns will cross, like this is all one big story, and it is hilarious when these characters run into each other.
Yes.
It's like, wait a minute, I thought I was the main character. Chris, what are you doing here?
You fools, no one is the main character. It's not like you're all kind of just hanging out.
Yeah. But this even happens mechanically. There will be boss fights or, otherwise set pieces where, like, back when you were playing this, if you were doing this co-op and playing it online, the game would like stop and do matchmaking. And then it would be like 4 players dealing with these threats.
Yes. This idea of ships passing the night, those being other players, was a really big back of the box quote for this. It plays into everything about how this game is pitched as a thing. That is how you're meant to play it.
Yes.
You are not meant to, unlike every other Resident Evil game, they're not just saying, hey, play through this game, learn the story. They're saying, play through the game many times, drop in on your favorite campaigns, power up your avatar, like you're playing Call of Duty. Like you cannot get enough experience points in this to level all your shit up.
Right.
In one playthrough, you're supposed to just keep doing it. They really imagine a world where people are going to be dropping in like Dark Souls. Like I love to drop in on the Ustanak fight.
Yeah.
I go to this chapter because I want to help people with this.
Yeah.
Down to there being also, I'm sure you have this later, but like there are invasions as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it didn't happen to me, but there are Dark Souls invasions. In this, you can invade as a monster.
And those are
what audience? Like
those are neat ideas, but what?
Yeah, why this? Like, I don't want to be playing Resident Evil and have another player come in.
Yeah.
It's not what this game is.
No.
It's so fucking trend chasey. And if you want to get, it's every Resident Evil thing from the past, it's like we're in the outbreak zone.
Yeah.
We have, co-op people online and things that we run into.
Yeah, I don't. Nobody should be chasing that outbreak heat, I think.
No, it's not really heat. It's really hard to get to play. There's cool things in those games.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get them to go.
Yes.
It's hard to experience them.
Yeah. So there's, different thematic and mechanical emphases. But the basic play, remains pretty similar. This is a fast moving third person shooter.
Yes. Resident Evil 5, we went back to that, pleasantly surprised mechanically, up the action a little bit, but it was generally still the slow pace of Resident Evil 4. This is not that.
Yes.
You have quick free movement. You have faster enemies. You have, again, a lot of different verbs. There are counters in this. You can do slides and dodge rolls. Everyone has kind of slightly different melee moves, but generally this is all the same.
Yeah.
That people work. And again, I did not engage with this depth. I read about it and watched videos about it. There is depth here.
Yes.
If you're that kind of person, it's here.
Yeah. If you are, an action, somebody who wants to make an action game, feel really smooth, you can do that. It is also worth saying it is not interested in getting you up to that level.
Not even a little bit.
No.
Like it does nothing to teach you. The encounter design does not do that. It's also doesn't require it.
No.
It's the thing. This is, I think the idea is they wanted, because of this being a multiplayer thing, they were kind of chasing people who are doing high scores in mercenary mode.
Yeah.
Kind of shit. You can use those kind of techniques in this and do well, and then pop into somebody else's game and impress them a lot. Fighting the Ustanak between, cutscenes or whatever.
Yeah.
Between the nonstop mandatory brief cutscenes.
Yeah. Just pop in and impress somebody by being an operator.
Yes.
Yeah. So moment to moment, like I actually don't mind that, it's faster. Like I think that this actually controls pretty well. I don't mind, in a vacuum, being able to move while I'm aiming. Right.
Yeah, of course not. That's fine.
It's fine. It's not committed to that. And this is still incredibly choppy, I find, for 2 reasons. One, everything that isn't moving or shooting is tied to a contextual prompt. And adjusting my view and my positioning to make the little icon pop up that I needed was a constant low level friction for me.
Yeah.
This is the third time I've played this.
Leon is facing the object that he needs to interact with, but the camera isn't.
Yeah.
so he can't interact with it. You have to like move everything around. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
And QTEs.
Yes.
In combat. So a lot of things in the middle of combat that you'll have to do. And these QTEs have been a big part of this series, this part of Resident Evil, the 4 through 6 campaign. They make less sense here.
Yes.
The thing I'm doing doesn't necessarily make sense. And they come in the middle of much faster combat.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't work. A QTE is something that by necessity requires you to kind of like take in some information and react to it. You can't just do your arms disappear. You're just connected to controller reaction to a QTE. It feels sloppily implemented.
Yeah. And those mid-combat kind of QTEs, this feels like it is very specifically designed to cater to the co-op play, which is like, okay, I am grabbed or I am in the middle of trying to do something. We need to watch each other's backs, right?
This owes so much to Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
In like a bunch of ways, down to straight up stealing monsters from it. But like, and this, so you've got it here in the notes, this fluidity is harmed by the fact that you're constantly being knocked down for no reason. Would it surprise you to hear that there is a complicated stamina and stamina out system that determines when you get knocked down?
It would not surprise me. I read something about like, okay, if an attack will get rid of one of your health chunks, you're going to get knocked down. That didn't necessarily happen. I just kind of felt like whenever anybody wanted to, they could knock me down.
It's exactly like 100% how it feels in the game.
Yeah.
Because again, the game does not teach you anything. So you have this experience of trying to get into this very fluid combat and constantly being interrupted for reasons you can never understand.
Yeah.
Characters taking a second to stumble in this is like the primary verb.
And you do this over bodies. So like as you're trying to run and cross a place, it's
I love that though, actually. Like that's the whole like dumb Leon tripping over corpses thing. But there's rhyme or reason to this, but not rhyme or reason you can read.
Yes.
So it may as well be glossolalia. It fucking sucks.
Yeah. Health and ammo are plentiful outside of Leon's campaign. That feels a little bit more like it is trying to string you along from pickup to pickup. When you're with Chris or Jake, it is full on. We want you to have stuff to shoot at people.
Yes. Nonstop.
Yeah.
Instead of having this kind of thoughtful ride the line Resident Evil 4 thing of pickups being determined by what you're using, everyone basically just picks up shit.
Yeah.
Drops everything. There's very little in the way of inventory management. You can carry all your weapons. You can only really ammo and health stuff is the only thing. And those weapons are a fixed point, and then you have them for the rest of the game.
Yes.
So much so that when I started this again to replay it, it took me a little while to realize I'd restarted with all my weapons.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what it wanted me to do. It wanted me to just play it again.
Yeah.
Try to get higher scores, get more experience points.
Yeah. Play the early part of this campaign before the sniper rifle is introduced with a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of neat, I suppose, as an idea. What are you trading with that, though? Like that is a fun treat, but you're getting rid of this idea, like this teaching moment, of like, oh, I got the sniper rifle. Yeah. Here's an arena we crafted to use it.
So use it if you want to, but the game is not designed around it at that point. That only happens if you have played through it already. So,
yes.
It is not so much the teaching thing. I had to make sure that I didn't go New Game Plus with all the weapons because it's important to know when you pick up a new weapon for how we talk about games.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, it's just a counterintuitive thing. Like replaying this game is not like replaying any other Resident Evil game.
No. There's also a piece of content that you just can't do again, as far as I can tell. Yeah.
Yep. Silly shit.
Yeah. You do have grenades. The health bar is wild in this. Not in a bad way. It's just not like other stuff. It's kind of halfway between this, fixed health system and a rechargeable health system. The closest thing I can think of is the health system in like Assassin's Creed 2. Your bar is broken up into segments. And you will take damage and it'll, whittle away at one of the little squares that you have. You will always recover a segment, automatically unless it is fully depleted. Otherwise you need to pop a health tablet. Health repairs have gone from breath spray to Tic Tacs.
Yes, you literally make Tic Tacs and pop them. And you make those little candies that are a little piece of sugar stuck to the paper.
Oh yeah, dots.
You know, those dots, those paper eating candies. You make those with herbs now, and then put them into your Tic Tac pouch and have a Tic Tac. The individual, it kind of reminds me a little bit, the health regen thing reminds me of like fighting games sometimes too.
Yeah.
Where like there'll be a certain amount you can always get back through this. So you're not upgrading weapons. They just toss that in the garbage. You collect skill points in the form of chess pieces. These are invested in perks in between chapters. You have like basically 3 ring slots. Each of these have different levels. And these are really either incremental general upgrades or like situational upgrades, you know, bonus damage to zombies, or you find more ammo for this weapon.
Increasing your critical hit rate. The thing that I run into with this is that there are some that just feel kind of mandatory to have. Like, I don't know how you would, how well you would do if you just took away the, you know, firearms damage level 3 or whatever.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That seems pretty important. So there's like that. And then I think there's like a health or defense one. And then I had like a third slot that I kind of set based on my recollection of what was going to be coming up.
There's nothing fun to put in here. It's worth noting. None of these are super exciting. You know, finding slightly more healing stuff can be useful, but these aren't fun upgrades.
Yeah.
There's 2 mechanical changes that I had noted in this that I don't know where you'd put them. But I just did a quick scan of the notes. It doesn't seem like they're in here, but I think are incredibly fucking important.
Okay.
One, enemies in the world do not exist as enemies until the game wants them to.
Yes.
What I mean by that is, unlike every other Resident Evil, when you see a corpse on the ground, if you shoot it, it will not react. And then when you walk to a certain point, it wakes up. You cannot spot the corpse and be careful. It's really important.
Pretty important.
It's a very key part of Resident Evil, right?
Yeah.
Second thing, there's only kinda area-based damage in this. Think about Resident Evil 4. The big thing that did was like, oh, I'm going to shoot a guy in a kneecap. He's going to react to that.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to do something else. They kind of do that in this, but there's a zombie where you shoot them twice in the chest and their head falls off to tell you they're dead. That is one of those things where I'm like, oh, the people who made this didn't get it.
No,
we do not have a shared set of values. That sucks so bad. How do you not understand why that sucks?
Yep.
You know, like, as opposed to this kind of realistically modeled, like this huge innovation in RE4, like it matters where I'm aiming. You know, it doesn't now. Every once in a while, there's like a weak point that an enemy will have, but you're not really getting that reactive damage thing.
Yeah. No, I was going to make a note about that because the one time where that matters is in Chris's campaign when you're fighting with the Javo. Because those are like G virus variant kind of things. Like the part that you shoot off of them will determine what their next mutation is. So that matters. But as far as like, it is not just that I need to aim and hit, you know, to economize my ammo or what have you, but like the order in which you decide to hit somebody can actually make you super effective at using the resources that are available to you. You know, there's the kneecap and then the melee, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily the case here in any particular way that matters, to the point where it is so inconsistently applied and so sparsely put around that it just kind of feels like slop.
Yeah.
If I can't count on it, like what, how can that factor into my decision making at all?
And that's even before the pace of play is taken into an account.
Yeah.
You're taking into account, like, part of the reason why that was so revelatory in Resident Evil 4 was that, like, it was a slower game. By kind of making this more actiony, even the thing with the Javos where you are, could theoretically say, I want to deal with this kind of Javo, so I'm going to shoot this guy in this limb.
Yeah.
In the heat of the moment, you can't.
No.
You know, so what it ends up being is, like, there are more monster types in this than any other Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Not only is there kind of an anonymity to how they look generally because they're always overlapping in some way, but it ends up being a thing where in this encounter, as opposed to, you know, I'm watching my headshots, you know, or I'm saving my flash grenades because these guys might mutate.
Yeah.
You just get a big mixed grill of random super limbs. Because I'm just shooting into the pile because the pile is fast and endless and I can't get through them. Like I cannot call my shots.
Yeah.
bullets into the pile, limbs come out of the pile. Now I'm fighting a bunch of things with limbs. I may as well fire into the morass. Like it is deeply untactical at the level it's at because of the way these things mismatch.
Yeah, it's unsatisfying and removes kind of the main axis of interest from the combat in 4 and 5.
Sucks.
Yeah. It's hard to figure out how to talk about this, but I keep on harping on the scenario design here. That is where things kind of fall apart for me. By scenario design, I mean just like the spaces that it has you moving through, what is happening in them, and what you are fighting in there. Resident Evil generally relies on these very memorably designed spaces. The puzzle box spaces, the, arenas that we consider to be sacred geometry from like RE4 and even RE5, right? Like you can remember specific encounters because you spend some time in them. You had to kind of internalize how they worked, figure out what your tactical advantage is, figure out what it wanted you to accomplish, and then like approach them as the threats evolved along the way, right?
Well, they mattered.
Yeah.
As a thing in a way they don't here.
Yeah.
These spaces suck. There's very little to them. There's lots of hallways.
Hallways and vestibules. Yeah.
Hallways and vestibules. Imagine a little bit of like the opening of Resident Evil 2 before you get to the police station, but with no backtracking really possible.
Yeah.
You just go through a series of artificially created hallways in a city.
Yeah.
I defy anyone to draw a map of any area of this game.
Yeah.
Like you could not do it.
And there are some set pieces where you're like exploring a space. They are very few and far between. And you have to think, if you are constantly being ganked through these relatively anonymous spaces, in addition to the combat deficiencies that we, kind of laid out, like think about how little a new monster type matters in this.
Yeah.
When it is just kind of added to the mix at this hectic pace. The fact that there is like a new kind of Crimson Head here, like a zombie straight up does the V-Act thing and then becomes a bloodshot. Like I should be pumping my fist and saying, yes, yes, yes. It is nowhere near as meaningful or consequential as what a Crimson Head is because it is not interested in doing anything approaching that.
If you recall, the Crimson Heads introduced in the Resident Evil 1 remake were for backtracking.
Yep.
It was to make this risk-reward thing of, do I even kill the zombie? Because if I come back, it might become a super zombie. Now it just feels like some random zombies do that.
Yeah.
And it just goes in the pile and you put bullets in the pile.
Yeah.
And then they leave. This is on top of these environments not being very interesting to explore. The game wants you to fucking go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's rare that I played a game that hurries me along more than this. It feels like every couple seconds it switches to a micro cutscene. My character stumbles a bit and my character yells at me to keep going. And I just have to move forward. There's nothing in this hallway. Go to the next fucking hallway. None of them look good. Or the graphics are fine, but none of them look memorable. Yeah. There's like the places I can remember in this are like the playground.
Yeah. The market?
I kind of remember the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of remember the market. There's a snow level, and then there's an entire Eastern Europe Call of Duty zone.
Yeah.
There's a complex, but they're just hallways that you get pushed through. When you talk about an insecure dungeon master, this game has a very insecure dungeon master. You need to be constantly moving forward. It is very scared of you getting bored or even taking a second to look at your surroundings.
Yeah. I mean, you almost have to wonder if they realized how little there would be to find if it was not, yanking you along. And this, is on top of like, you're even getting this when you're playing this single player, right?
Yes.
Like there is the, thing about playing games, co-op or playing the multiplayer that both of us kind of rankle against, which is if there's somebody else there, I immediately feel anxious that I am keeping them up or stopping the pace of play when they want to move on and I want to look around, right?
Yeah. They're trying not to have you not do that.
Yeah.
Between the way that they hide items and stuff too, like there's less reason to look around. You might find a little bonus thing, but the game will just give you all the stuff you need kind of regardless. You're not going to find an alternate path that doesn't exist here.
Yeah.
You're not going to find a cul-de-sac. Like you're going to go into a zone. The closest this does to that is go to a zone there's an obvious way to go, but it's locked, so you have to go the other way to get a key. That happens a few times. Imagine doing that with strangers. Like this kind of drop in, drop out. Like I just feel like playing a little bit of Resident Evil. Like, you know, I'm feeling Piers. Let's feeling kind of Piers today. I'm going to pop in and do some Piers time.
Yeah.
And then it's with online strangers who, in their ideal kind of player type of this, have just been dropping in and out and building up their character. Like a Call of Duty to replay these scenarios. Like you're never meant to look at any of this.
Yeah.
You're never meant to stop. It wants to be wireframed so fucking badly. I don't come to Resident Evil for wireframe.
No.
They don't. You guys don't realize how much you were relying on me not doing that. Don't encourage me to do it.
No,
you needed me not to.
You really, really needed me not to. And even like in RE4, when that gets to wireframe, it is still full of very interesting decisions.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. The best any of these can be is a horrible pale echo.
Yeah.
Like, you remember the cabin defense? We kind of do it.
We kind of have that, but we actually didn't really learn anything from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's significantly worse.
We're not going to talk about the multiplayer modes because of when this came out. That was absolutely a thing. That's what all of the DLC for this was. There was the agent hunt mode that we talked about where you could invade. You don't invade as like a, agent for the family or whatever.
Chris is finally going to get revenge on Leon.
You invade as a monster while you inhabit something that's already in there. Kind of similar to Left 4 Dead. Doing some Left 4 Dead
Real
stuff.
similar to Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
Originally this game trawls out of the fucking dumpster bin of Left 4 Dead so hard.
I mean,
Left 4 Dead originally wanted you to, when you joined as the infected, while you're waiting to spawn, play as a regular infected.
Yeah.
And they cut it because they thought it was boring. But Resident Evil 6 is like, no, just pop in as a zombie.
Yeah.
That can be Agent Hunt. Like I was reading about Agent Hunt, and you can pop in as like a very powerful character. Like I'm a Jago with a knife.
Yeah.
Like that's not an even match.
No.
I'm gonna die because they got all the guns. They're gonna put bullets in the pile. Like it's very and these ideas that Valve rejected. Same thing. We're gonna get to it in this episode. The Screamer enemy is literally a cut infected from Left 4 Dead that works the same as it did in Left 4 Dead. Like they're fucking drinking out of the dumpster.
And that is in addition to like the PC version has like a special Left 4 Dead scenario kind of thing. There was like crossover stuff. So that is specifically name checked.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not like they're trying to ignore the fact that Left 4 Dead 2 exists or pretend that they're not pulling, right?
No, it's just once you know that the parts they Frankenstein this shit out of.
Yeah.
Or Ustanact this thing out of. Yeah. Ustanak's monster, please.
Yes, please. Let's talk aesthetics. Like this is a fine looking game, looks very PS3, but the characters look fine. The action is, the cutscenes are composed pretty well. The monsters, when you have time to like look at them, have fun designs, mostly. Yeah. Yeah.
It does scale really well. One of the things I think is a success in this is that they're trying to show a zombie outbreak as it's happening.
Yes.
And the chaos that would bring. This is the first time they've been able to do it. In a sense that you get they've always wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And they sell that. Like it is chaotic. It is a huge mess.
Yeah.
It feels like a zombie outbreak when you're there. Looks good. Nothing to the music. I agree.
Yeah.
None of it is very memorable. None of it, we don't have anything iconic on the soundtrack.
Yeah. The story incoherent, whether you are watching it, or reading the plot beats in order, or getting it piece by piece. If you're here for late RE nonsense, if you're pumping your fist at there's a C virus now, throw it on the pile with the T abyss virus and stuff like that. That's either going to be for you or it is not. But even that, a lot of the interest that happens there is in those. It is in those little documents.
Files. Yeah. The game does not present it as stuff. Like even if you're here for old Resident Evil kind of lore, this is mostly a personal story that kind of borders on revenge porn. Like clone-based revenge porn.
Yeah.
Almost is the actual plot of this.
Yeah.
A weirdly personal story. Derogatory.
I am into like the weird psychosexual aspect of what's going on at the core of it, but it kind of couldn't have anything less to do with the majority of what's happening.
when it's not very Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Like a guy being so hard up for, this is the plot of this.
Yeah.
A guy is so horny for Ada Wong that he makes an evil Ada Wong. That's why there's a Resident Evil 6. That does not feel very Resident Evil to me.
It's like they decided Code Veronica was pretty uncomfortable. How do we extend that further?
They're really different though.
Yeah,
the kind of uncomfortable Code Veronica felt a lot more interesting to me.
Yes. Yeah.
Like this kind of mustache twirling villain, like say what you will about the Ashford twins, but like there's a sympathy angle to them. Mm-hmm. The best Resident Evil villains are victims.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like your Lisa Trevors and stuff. This guy is not.
No, not at all.
Like it's just a shitty, like he stepped off one of the CG movies. Mm-hmm. He's just a shitty mustache twirling villain who was fucking down bad for Ada Wong.
Yeah. And the monster that he created also, like at the very least, Wesker, his whole plan with the Ouroboros to, usher
total global saturation.
Yeah. Total global saturation. But like, he was like, okay, ultimate survival of the fittest. The only people who survive this will become basically gods, right? We're going to make an Ubermenschen kind of thing. That is super outsized and incredibly dumb, but it is a motivation.
Yeah.
What you end up with, like the person who is ultimately responsible for, the majority of the bad things that, that happen in this, aside from Simmons, aside from the down bad guy, is just like, I just want to destroy the world because I think that would be a good thing to do based on the things that happened to me. Yeah.
It's a pretty stock plot.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the world with me because things are bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also when I talk about that psychosexual thing, it is just not interested in exploring that. So also like nothing is done with it.
Yeah. These are the most shallow characters on earth. Like there's literally nothing done to it. Like the psychosexual thing would have been, this would have been done so much better in like a Showtime movie from 1996.
Yeah.
A guy clones his ex-girlfriend. Like, is it still her? She doesn't want, what does she think of being a clone? Like those are all interesting kind of things ish.
Yeah.
There's also, it's worth noting, there's some uncomfortable non-psycho, just sexual shit in this.
Yeah.
The boss of this campaign that we're going to get into is gross. Mm-hmm. It's really horny.
Yep.
In a way that like is this is something that I remember Noah Gervais saying, and put into words, and something that I was always trying to figure out why this bothered me. And it's not camp.
Yeah.
Lady Demetresque, horny as shit.
Yep.
Like I would like to climb that mountain. Or have that mountain crush me, like whatever happens.
Yeah.
Uppies, steppies, the works. The thing with Deborah in this is that she's just a naked monster lady who kind of touches herself sometimes during fights.
Yeah.
What's subversive and cool about that? Like, how are you using sexuality?
Yeah.
What are you doing with the tool other than just being like, hey, check it out?
Yeah. Here's a moist lady.
Yeah. Yeah. What if it's Todd from Beavis and Butthead in the parking lot showing you a nudie pen? It does nothing.
Yeah.
You can use sex to make things uncomfortable. It's great.
Yeah.
It's not doing that though.
No.
Like you're meant to kind of like it. The fucking shots in this, it does near automata, like camera going up her ass shit. And she's like a nude clone slug, but with like a big lady butt.
Yeah. And that does not interact with or play with the actual character, who is attached to this person, mourning her sister and trying to, call out to the humanity left inside her, et cetera. Right.
Yeah. Why? Who is it for? It's just for the audience.
Yeah.
And that sucks. That's the definition of gratuitous sex content.
Yeah.
If it's just for me, if my character is meant to be like, this is a victim, my Helena, this is supposed to be the most traumatic moment of her life.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to give me a boner?
Yeah.
Like if you want me to care about these characters.
I mean, throw it on the pile of things that they recognize, are, things that are shaped like that are parts of much more interesting products, be it Resident Evil or otherwise. And that is them taking that and gesturing it and, kind of playing around with it without understanding what is necessary to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty off-putting, I find.
Yeah.
On top of just being a snooze of a fucking boss fight.
Yeah.
She touches herself and then gets 3 tentacles with glowing spots. Cool. Dialogue is really goofy. There is some camp joy to be found in this. Our boy Leon is in good form.
Yes.
In this, Leon hilariously sucks in a good way. Chris is fun to laugh at.
Yes. Jake is there. I didn't take the quote, but like the designers talking about Jake. It's like, oh, we wanted him to appeal to the young people of today.
Yeah, Jake is definitely for the youngs.
A huge Poochie quotient, I think.
Yeah. Jake is one of the more Poochie characters we get.
Yeah,
in the entire series.
Yeah. Let's talk about development because, boy, once you look into this, a lot of this starts making a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this began shortly after Resident Evil 5 released, with 6 months of concepting for it. And the concept phase involved basically taking in no bad ideas and taking in fan account. Fans wanted zombies back.
Yes.
And it just feels like they were going to just take everything.
Yeah.
Be nothing by taking everything. It's hard to imagine any no's in this.
And I don't think that's how you get a good creative product, actually.
No.
They didn't want to make any decisions about what this was or wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah. We were talking about the Outbreak series, the online co-op PS2 kind of experiment. That series' director, Ichiro Sasaki, that director came in and directed this.
Yep. Big leagues. These expectations, kind of knowing where the series was.
Yeah.
At this point is worth noting. This will upset player expectations. We didn't like it as a thing. Generally, it's a controversial game. It's worth kind of talking about how they set that out.
Yes.
When they set out to make this, they want this to be a horror product, the ultimate horror experience. And they kind of did the gerrymandering thing. Like horror can be all kinds of different things. Horror can be you're in Call of Duty fighting a insurgent. Horror can be destroying brown people.
Horror can be a big man who won't stop running at you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Horror could be Jake Mueller. He's very cool.
Yeah, him eating those apples.
Yeah, he loves to fucking eat apples.
Yeah.
He's healthy, unlike his dad.
A lot of fiber in that boy.
Yeah.
But he's kind of emphasizing saying, hey, we want this to be all kinds of horror. We want this to be kind of a celebration of the series and also, the genre. They wanted this to surpass all of the previous Resident Evil games, especially Resident Evil 5. And they wanted to evolve the series as well to make it into something else, which is how you get a maximalist approach like you end up getting with this game.
Yeah. And then as release came up, they kind of decided, no, survival horror, this genre always has limited appeal. It's always had limited appeal. And that has limited the sales potential of the series.
Yes.
Kind of forgetting that Resident Evil 5 sold, it's like their best-selling game.
Oh, God,
went fucking nuts. So they started marketing it very differently at this point for less survival horror emphasis.
Yes. Yeah. And also, I imagine that, the actual emphasis of development changed in a result of those pressures too. Right. Yeah. But yeah, I remember the switch happening and getting very concerned.
Yes.
This is a huge and expensive game. This was the biggest for any game that Capcom had made at the time in terms of personnel. There was a core team of 150 people and overall 600 people involved at the least on this. Gigantic.
Lots of cooks.
Yeah. And the studio's structure, like the way that they decided to cut up this pig, sounds like a nightmare. It sounds like if you are attempting to sabotage a product of this scale, I cannot think of a way you would do it better deliberately.
Yeah. Yeah. So they didn't have teams kind of responsible for the core of the game that takes place throughout the whole thing. They had people divided out into teams for the individual levels or campaigns. So and I'm sure there was some coordination.
Yeah.
I'm sure it wasn't they were in silos or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's an idea there with a weird thing if this had less direction.
Yeah.
Taking, 4 different Resident Evil game directors and saying, each of you go make your own Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
We're going to put them together. I'd take that.
Oh God. Yeah. That would be,
without trying to fit this into the horny for a Wong plot. Like I'd be pretty into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be super interesting.
Yeah.
But they, like had 10 different directors on this, and they had to bring it together. They had to bring it together and kind of reconcile everything. Eiichiro Sasaki, in this interview with GameDeveloper.com, says, so it's as if each unit is its own company, creating its own individual product, and then we had to bring it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a job they did.
Yeah.
Shortly before release, Capcom put out a demo of this alongside of Dragon's Dogma, and fans were very concerned about this. This caused Capcom to make more adjustments to it. And it released to pretty middling reviews.
Yeah.
If it got talked about at all, Metacritic's around the high 60s. It's fair-ish, like high 60s, low 60s.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in there, though, I would say.
Yeah.
But it sold well.
Yeah.
The Resident Evil curse. It's sometimes rewarded for doing bullshit.
Yeah, sometimes rewarded for doing bullshit. Resident Evil 5, I think, is still the best selling of the games that they have made. That factoid hasn't been updated, so if something else has overtaken it, I am not aware. By 2024, it sold like 13.8 million copies. Resident Evil 6 did. And so it was commercially rewarded, even though I remember at the time it felt like this was a rock that landed in the pond and didn't create any ripples. Like it came out and everybody just kind of mumbled past it.
Yeah, I didn't play this until after it was done.
Yeah.
Because I didn't heard anything good about it, and because I had to kind of warm up through Resident Evil 5. The post-release support of this is DLCs, but they're only multiplayer DLCs.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of controversy around this because Capcom was having people pay for on-disc DLC. Gamers do not like that.
No.
So they ended up unlocking it for free.
Yeah. Capcom's own response to the way that this shook out tells you pretty much everything you need to know. And we talked about this in the Resident Evil 7 episode. That being such a big refactor, as a result of RE6 being this wake up call, they couldn't continue going in this direction. They said, in the documentation, at them talking about RE7, if we did another game like Resident Evil 6, that would have been it. That would, that would have been it. Additionally, there is not much further you can go without going to space in terms of the scale and the spectacle of this.
The scale and spectacle of this is a real problem.
Yeah.
I think in terms of that, like there's nowhere, you shoot the president in the first little bit of this.
Yeah.
And you have to get bigger than that. I don't, again, it's those breaking points that Resident Evil has.
Yeah.
One of which I think we might be at, like, I think they got one more in the 8 mold.
Maybe. I don't know. After that DLC, I'm very trepidatious, actually. Yeah.
I feel like it won't be a good one.
Yeah.
I think they have to get out there, like squeeze out their turd.
Yeah.
Of the first person new Resident Evils. And then they'll have to switch again.
Yeah.
But they get all of the fucking juice off of the, all out of the fruit before they throw it away.
Yes.
Yeah. This is a game you can only really recommend with tons of reservations.
Yes.
Nobody does a real full-throated recommendation of this. You only kind of need it for the canon, but now that they've soft rebooted it, you really don't need it.
Yeah, nothing's really alluded to in this.
This is also, it's because the story is so fucking small scale. Like when I say, big scale, it's weird. It's big scale and small scale at the same time. Huge set piece things happen. In terms of advancing the cosmology, it doesn't do that much.
Right.
It's weirdly largely confined to one person's plan, and that plan is thwarted.
Yeah.
It introduces some new organizations, but every Resident Evil does that.
Throw it on the pile. Yeah.
Throw it on the put it in the pile. Like, there's the family now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mentioned in one campaign, and then never touched again.
Yeah. There's Neo Umbrella. Okay. It's hard to have a strong reaction to any of this shit.
Yeah.
In terms of actually changing the Resident Evil story itself. And then 7 wisely ignored most of it.
Yes.
Chris showing up at the end and going, "I'm Redfield," ended up being a, kind of a twist because it felt like, like at that point, it felt like they'd thrown all this shit out, rightfully so.
Yeah. It is interesting to think about this, though, since it very much appears that RE5 is the next remake that we're getting. Are they going to touch the stove?
Yeah. with this guy. I don't know what a Resident Evil 6 remake would look like.
Neither do I.
Scale it down.
Please.
You know, like it can't be this big and sprawling and dumb.
No.
Just giving these story ideas good mechanics and giving these bosses good mechanics is something I would welcome.
Yeah.
You know, or better mechanics. Like it can be fun to play this game.
Yeah.
It just doesn't come through in a way that's easy to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. So but again, I wish they were doing Code Veronica first.
Same. I wish they were doing Code Veronica.
Zero.
Yeah. Do zero. Like do a remake of 1. Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Give me a bunch of stuff. I am so like even the RE5 remake, since that's the direction it seems that they're going, I have reservations about that. You know, playing this again to give me kind of a heightened appreciation for, you know, RE5. Just, you know, thinking about them in comparison and thinking about what 6 ultimately sheds. I feel like we were like broadly negative on this because we kind of are. Like there are still like kind of moments in this that are that I appreciate just on their own. Yeah, there's sicko appeal in this, but that is not fungible, right?
Yeah, like and there's sicko appeal, but it's also worth noting that there's less of it and it's spread out among a more diffuse experience. You know, this game is really interesting in that, like, I mean, this is true of a lot of games, but this is one of the main ones I experienced that lived so much better in my memory.
Yeah.
Because I was just pulling the highlights.
We talk about that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I try to be immune to that. You know, I'm not, but I try to not let my memories get clouded that way. All I had was a vague idea of fun, the playground as a thought, and a couple of the boss fights in mind. Like that's almost all I remembered of this.
Yeah.
You know, and going back, there's so much more to it. Those kind of high points, those, you know, that I remembered because they're memorable, they're kind of just had a lot of space in between them.
Yeah.
That my brain had elided, you know? I don't know. I don't know whether they remake this.
Yeah.
It's got bad bones.
Yeah. It's going to have to be a total teardown. You're going to have to go back to the studs.
Absolutely bad bones on this one. As opposed to Code Veronica, again, those two Breaking Point games. I think Code Veronica has a good game in the center of it.
Yeah.
I'm not certain this does.
Let's get into it talking about Leon and Helena's campaign.
Yeah. So it starts off with kind of a cold open, just to confuse the fuck out of you. It's, you know, Leon, you're in China. It's right in the middle of the action, right? Like kind of the end of the story.
Yeah.
The city's in absolute chaos.
Yeah. And you're getting tutorial stuff as Leon is doing the, you know, it's 2012, 2013. So Leon's injured and you're walking real slow.
you do a real slow walk. You're teaching things to Helena. You know, it's kind of the thing. It's noteworthy what they don't tutorialize, which is most of the mechanics in the game.
Yeah.
You know, and then you can choose which campaign order you do in these.
Yeah.
Do these in. One of the weird things is that everyone does Leon first. It's presented first. That's how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
In trying to untangle the chronology, I think Chris first probably makes more sense.
Chris first makes more sense, and then Jake, because like the bulk, like a huge part of that takes place like 6 months before this. And
it's literally a prequel.
Yeah.
And it's also only kind of tied to the main story. So you end up doing this thing that goes through most of the main story and then do these two little Gaiden tales afterwards. It's a little unsatisfying.
Yeah. And Leon is kind of off in his own little corner. He's the only person who has the main villain for this.
Yeah.
Everything else is much more concerned with kind of the actual head of Neo Umbrella, right? You know, Leon is in Simmons Town. And Simmons is only incidental to everybody else. Leon is also the only character who does not get the actual truth of what's going on with Ada.
No, the one person who'd care about it.
Yeah.
So it's June 2013. Leon has his gun trained on a zombie, and they reveal he calls him Mr. President. Big laugh.
Mr.
Great.
President, stand still. Don't come any closer.
It's real hard to go better from that. It is a strong opening note. It's very funny. In doing Bloodlines notes for Real Witch Hours, I just remember that you can tell one of the guys on the beach that the head vampire is the president and send him off to kill the president.
Oh God.
So he does this to save his partner, to save Helena.
Yes.
Here, who's going to be taken down by President Zombie, by President Evil.
Dan Burlew?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fun.
Helena blames herself for this. And she says, listen, I'll explain everything down the road. We have to go to Tall Oaks Cathedral. It's real weird. We're in Tall Oaks, a very small town, where the president is doing something.
There's like a reception at a university is where you are.
Yes.
And we're going to get context for what this is in the lead up to. But right now,
Yes.
there's nothing about who Helena is, about why Leon would even believe her. She seems pretty responsible at the moment.
Yeah. Or why we, the audience, would give a shit
Yes.
about Helena. You know, I think we're supposed to give a shit about her because she's pretty and we're supposed to think it's a cool character design.
Yeah.
It's anime shorthand bullshit.
Yeah.
Like there's no text.
Yeah. Both her and Leon have snappy vests.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So Hunnigan's back, radios Helena, and Leon learns that Helena has been working for the Secret Service.
Yes.
They say, we just shot the president. and Hunnigan's like, oh shit, well, here's how you get to the cathedral.
Yeah.
You know, and Helena's kind of lying about this. She says, I can explain everything once we get there. She just needs Leon to come shoot zombies along the way.
Yes.
For her.
Yeah.
We start out with the campus here. This has some of the funniest background stuff. The repeated flyer sign that is plastered onto everything.
Yes.
And then there's a slogan for the president that is something like destroy or die. Like, it's not quite destroy or die, but it's something like that.
Something pretty similar. Yeah.
It's something like that. It's pretty good. And just thousands of pictures of the president things just on every surface. Very funny.
I love the reception hall and all of the party stuff that's kind of laid out there. Yeah.
A big president party.
Yeah. And Leon remarks, oh, this is just like the Raccoon City incident. There's, kind of constantly calling out the similarities here.
Yes.
Like this is it's a college town in Massachusetts, I think is what this is. It's supposed to be like old money New England. I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Run to a guy. He talks about how there's this fog that's coming through where this is going to get the zombies, and he wants to find his missing daughter.
Yeah.
Through that. So we have him kind of hang around with us for a little bit, being an idiot AI.
Yeah.
Until we eventually find her. We can do an elevator, but she's infected, of course.
Right.
And
then, the dad starts coughing, the daughter turns, and we've got to deal with this. This is kind of the first combat that we have.
Yeah. No emotional stakes.
No.
Like what would be a very emotional moment. We are too soon. We don't know these people.
No.
We run through this zombie crowded parking garage and check out a security camera where there are guys holding up a help sign in front of a security thing who can't hear.
Yeah.
Because zombies come up behind them and just kill them. And they straight up video game kills one of them and the other one doesn't notice. It's like they're in a Hitman level.
Yeah, there's a problem with the sign.
It's straight up. There's a problem with the CCTV help camera.
Yeah. It's so funny. Them just signaling help and then getting eaten with perfect timing.
Yeah. And Leon, our boy, is like, this is horrible. And then Helena doesn't seem to particularly care. It's great.
No. I need to get to the cathedral. I'll explain everything there.
We had to get to the World Stone.
Yeah. So we have to detour through the staff building to get a key for this courtyard gate. Doing a little bit of a persistent space here. It's like, okay, here's the courtyard. You got to go into this side thing. Zombies are literally falling from the sky at this point.
Yeah. And this is the first of, again, they're going to do this many times. You go into an open area that looks like it might be a hub for exploration. Instead, it's one locked door and then a little diverticulate that has the key.
Yes. We talk about fighting the zombies. So they move very quickly. They attack in numbers, and you just kind of have to pile bullets into them.
You put bullets into the pile.
Yeah.
Of the things. We didn't mention this in the control section. One of the things this game has is a quick shot.
Yeah.
If you hit aim and attack at the same time, which will stun an enemy. I found out through reading about this, there are different levels of stun. Doing that gives an enemy a level 1 stun and opens them up to a level 2 stun. Because again, there's depth here that you'll never see, that the game doesn't teach you.
Yeah.
So instead of it being positional, Resident Evil 4, I shoot at the kneecap, the person grabs their knee, and then I can roundhouse them. Now you do the quick shot, they stumble a little bit, regardless of where you shoot them, and then you can sometimes do a roundhouse or just a regular melee attack. The other thing, I think we missed this in the generalities is too, there's a stamina meter.
There is a stamina meter that does not, it is not explained.
No, they never tell you about it. But if sometimes when your character falls, that's also what's happening, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick shots drain your stamina, and then it also limits how much like melee you can do.
Yes. Yeah. And you, because you have kind of a combo. In terms of weird depth, like Pearl Before Swine shit, a lot of these combos are conditional based on where you're at in relation to the zombie.
Yeah, and also what zombie it is or what enemy it is. Yeah.
Like you could theoretically be like, okay, this finisher that I can do will actually kill a zombie, but I have to be behind him to do that.
Yeah.
But the encounter design does not support it. The pace of play does not support it.
And the little icon that pops up when that can or can't happen is not explanatory, other than press this button to make the thing happen.
How many times did you accidentally counter in this? Like I was doing it a lot.
I was doing it a lot. I was trying to do it because it's a way to deal with stuff without sinking ammo in, and that's important for Leon's campaign. But
typically I relied on the quick shot melee thing to take people out. We're not here yet. This is also going to end up into a scene where instead of clearing out a zone, they'll just have enemies keep going. Like if a character tells you to run, you have to run.
Yes.
Here. So like you leave this area, you detour through a staff building, get the key, zombies are falling, and we get to the police cruiser. There's this little hallway that we're in. And I was still thinking at this point, I'd forgotten the pace of play, was going for Resident Evil 4 mode, like, oh, I want to clear these zombies out.
Well, I want to pick up the shit they're dropping.
Yeah, I'm going to get treats. They just keep spawning to overwhelm you. When Leon says run, they're trying to push you on to the next set piece. So you have to get in the police cruiser, and they do a little bit of the hilarious Resident Evil 7 first-person driving stuff here.
You're not even really, you're not controlling anything. Instead, it's a QTE where you can control, what part of the interior of the car you're looking at, trying to find the keys.
Yeah, it's very funny.
Yeah.
Press triangle to look under the sun blocker.
Yeah.
You immediately crash because every time you're in a car, you do the stupidest thing in the world in this game.
Yes.
And have to go to the sewers to continue.
And Leon's like, what's the matter? Not a fan of sewers? You know that there are other people there with you, Leon. Who are you talking to?
And just also probably not. What if she said yes, Leon?
That works very well when it's Leon talking to himself, doing the, where'd everybody go? Bingo. Like if it's just him trying to amuse himself, him doing that off of somebody who does not respond to it is very surreal.
A very fun thing you can do if you're playing this co-op is do the canned responses. Like Leon can say, what's the matter? Not a fan of sewers. And you can pull up good job.
Look over there.
We get the ammo here. We get a little bit of what's going on. Leon has a flashback to the president talking about disclosing the real truth of the Raccoon City incident.
Yes.
This is also something you get from the files. This in the game, it implies that people don't really know what happened at Raccoon.
Yeah.
That was in newspapers and shit. What he'd be disclosing is the government's role in nuking the city.
Right. In doing the sterilization maneuver in order to wipe it off. I think the official story was that it was a reactor failure or something like that. That just happened to wipe out the entire. No reason not to say that. Like, why wouldn't they include that information here? The implication is, I'm finally going to come clean about Raccoon City incident. Really makes it sound like that's the entirety of it. Yes.
Not this kind of minor bit of culpability. Not minor, they nuked a city, but this thing that in the face of a zombie outbreak does not seem like the lead.
Also talking about it because again, just the conspiracy and the controversy behind it, blah, blah, blah. It would also implicate the US government in bioweapons research that was forbidden. The fact that Umbrella was weaponizing, this biological research was something that the United States government was kind of implicated in, with it. So it's not only like, hey, the US government killed these 50,000 people or whatever, even if most of them were dead or going to die anyway. It is that, the explosion of bioterrorism that has happened that kind of established this new world order by the time of Resident Evil 5, is something that the government had a hand in the lead up to it. This also gets into the motivation of Simmons, who we're going to learn is the person who ordered the sterilization, and his involvement with the family as like this Illuminati style, global power broker trying to maintain the supremacy of the United States in this kind of arms race with bioweapons and stuff. All things that could make for a fine enough story. The fact that none of it is told, and you just have Simmons, who apparently has always been there, does make the weight. He's so bad. Does make like the actual events that are happening here like weaker than they need to be as they are presented to you.
It's also, I would say, semi-motivated. Like the president wants to do this because he's in this game an impossibly honorable person.
Yes.
Like there's no strategy to it. He's just now arbitrarily has decided now is the time to stop lying.
Yes.
We don't get any insight into what happened for him just to be like, no, I got to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Here, I'm going to go on a college tour of telling people that we're doing bioweapons. So we're in subway tunnels. Yeah. There are trains here. Some of this is atmospheric as shit. Seeing the shambling corpses in the back, barely backlit. By like emergency lights looks really good.
The huge shadows being cast up like as they round the corner in the tunnel. Yeah,
looks really good here. And then we have to dodge out of the way of trains here. Trains just keep going, and we have to press ourselves up against the wall.
Yeah, Leon, there was no one at the wheel. There was no one at the controls. Zombie Express.
Player 2. Good job. Heal me.
Some zombies here start doing different stuff besides running and grabbing. They will start vomiting acid at a distance. And some of them are carrying hammers or clubs. Eventually, later on, the zombies retain enough faculty to shoot you with guns.
Yeah, there are SWAT zombies around you. And we free this one from a subway car here. She immediately opens the shutter gate and gets chomped. We tell her not to do it, and she doesn't. We shoot those guys. We get back up to the surface, and Hunnigan says, listen, it's real bad there. It is this horrible outbreak. It's hell on earth. Be careful on your way to the church.
Yeah. And we're in the town itself. We've gotten off of the campus, and we're in these alleyways and streets. And we have to go through like a bar and some apartment buildings. You have to ransack a family's a family's worth of bodies to find a key.
They all died watching TV.
Yeah.
They all died of the zombie outbreak, literally sitting in chairs watching TV. The zombies bit them, and they just, shit. You didn't think about that. But you think they're going to come to life. They're not going to come to life, and you can shoot them in advance, and nothing happens. They don't even react to it. It's like you shut the wall.
Yeah.
Head outside, you get your shotgun in this. It is a fine shotgun.
That's fine.
We didn't really mention this. You get to choose who you play as in these, and it actually does make kind of a difference. Not just in situations where you split up, which we'll talk about more of those as they show up, but even in weapons. Leon gets the shotgun. Helena gets the Hydra, the weird triple-barreled shotgun from Resident Evil 5. I played as Leon because I'm never not going to play as Leon. But I did decide to play as Piers because I hadn't played as him before during that campaign. And you get, at the end of it, you get monster powers. Like there is some real asymmetric gameplay that happens.
Yeah. That's in addition to like, some of them have more health. They're more durable, quicker, different combo attacks. It does make a difference. It is not just cosmetic, which one you're playing as or, who ends up going what way when your paths diverge.
Yep. Yeah. This is where we're introduced to the Screamer, cut from Left 4 Dead. A guy with a big kind of bladder on his chest. He stuns you. He shrieks. This stuns you for a second in a game that you're getting stunned constantly. And what this does mechanically is it alerts all the zombies where you're at.
Yes.
And then this guy runs away. Literally a cut special undead.
Yeah.
You can shoot them in their chest bladder. There, they can try to recharge it for one final little scream.
Yeah.
You want to focus these guys down.
I like when you kill them, like after you've destroyed the bladder, like the weird little like dingus that comes up out of their mouth while they're still trying to scream.
Yeah, that thing's great. And it kind of screams a little bit at the end. If you don't get it in time, that thing looks good.
Yeah. Yeah. Good designs. We reach a gas station and there's a whole group of survivors here. Some people, at least on TV tropes, get real up and involved in these people's fates.
Yeah, it's strange.
One of them, it's his first day on the job as a cop.
I hate that they call that out as well. Like a character will say that, it's incidental dialogue you'll get. And like, obviously that's what happened to Leon.
Yeah.
But it's just clumsy.
Yeah.
Obvious. And this is also a Left 4 Dead scenario. Literally, you go to a door, it's locked, and then you have to clear out some things. The guy won't let us upstairs until we fend off the zombies breaking in. So we get this really, really pale imitation of the cabin defense.
Yes.
Here. The layout's less interesting. It's 2 rooms, both with windows basically on 3 sides, or 2 sides of each of them. There's no second story. There is no, like the ladder shuffling. That you do in the cabin defense adds a lot of depth to this. You're just shooting guys as they crawl in.
You're just shooting guys outside the window. Yeah.
Yeah. Including some SWAT zombies who will shoot back at you and have bulletproof vests.
Fine.
Yep.
It's fine for there to be zombies that have more capabilities like that.
Yeah.
You just do this. You just do this until it decides you're done doing it.
It's so funny. Like the guy's like, "Oh, you did it," and I'm like, "I still see zombies outside." He specifically said, "Clear the gun shop," and there are no zombies in the gun shop. And then you shoot zombies outside the gun shop, and any of them that get in. And then once you've done some, he's like, "Okay."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, now I can seal the security shutters. You could have sealed them, and we could have dealt with the ones that were in here without having
100% makes no sense.
Yeah.
We go upstairs to him. There's a Japanese fella. And the guy goes, "You Japanese guy, get on the shutter, get on the computer." And he just assigns him to fix the shutters upstairs. Just, I don't know, just met him.
Yeah. One of the survivors in the gas station people, he's this jerk who takes a woman's gun and tries to go and survive on his own. I think he like abandons his girlfriend. He gets got and gets eaten by the zombie, does the secondary mutation, like all of its flesh flies off, becomes a bloodshot, kind of a variant on a crimson head that just moves faster and does like leaping attacks.
Yep. The leaping attacks are a problem if you can't counter them. They also have like an exposed heart.
Yeah.
Which is their weak point.
Yes.
Through that. It's worth noting none of this is responsive or reactive. All the people who are scripted to die will die. It's not like something you can influence.
Yeah.
Upstairs, the Japanese guy fixes the shutters so we can go into the next room and close the door. We could have done that anyway. And he says like, "Hey, there's a guy on a bus who's coming to rescue us."
Right.
And we're introduced to Boomer. Or the tank, the Boomer tank.
Yeah, they're called Whoppers in this. And what if there was a large fat man?
Yeah, just really, really big, bigger than a guy, but just, the special infected fucking crossword puzzle clue. They were in State of Decay, they were in Left 4 Dead, now they're here. He's kind of tromping around. They say that if he does enough, he's going to bring the building down, which does not seem likely. He's just a big guy. You eventually take him down and then get in the bus, run downstairs, get in the bus, and another big fat zombie lifts up the top of the bus to stop us from going. So we have to shoot it while our companions die in the background.
Yes. Yeah. Ultimately, we kill it. This is basically just scripted. You can't move. Shoot at him until he's done, and then you speed away to get to the end of the chapter, getting your first opportunity to spend your little chess pieces in order to upgrade your skills.
Yeah, and trade anything out. You can only have 3 equipped at once, but you can have as many of them bought as you'd like.
Yeah.
If for some reason you want to do that, you basically know what enemy type you're going to have. So like in the Leon campaign, saying, "Oh, I do more damage to zombies" is probably good.
Yeah.
You're going to be fighting Javo as Chris. Other than that, though, it's, again, not too exciting.
Yeah. So chapter 2 starts up. We're on the bus, and Hunnigan says, "Hey, 90% of the Tall Oaks population is infected. And there's this organization called Neo Umbrella that is claiming responsibility." This is different from Blue Umbrella?
Yes.
Yeah.
A suit, her boss is pressuring her to get into the cathedral, which is nice because that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Derek C. Simmons. Is this where they show him and you get to see his stupid thumb ring?
You do get to see his stupid thumb ring. He is here for all the world. He looks like Krieger from Archer.
I was going to say he looks like he does look like that. And he looks like the boss from the Double Dragon movie.
A little bit less outlandish. Like he doesn't have the hair. Yeah.
Yeah. He has a similar kind of hair though, and similar face.
Oh.
Yeah, he reminds me of the guy from the Double Dragon movie.
Yeah. I went about the hair. Like he doesn't have like the white hair, I guess.
No, it's not the same color.
Yeah.
But, the bus, because we're all idiots, the bus crashes. And it crashes on the edge of a cliff. Because of course it does.
Yeah.
And then while we're waiting to fall off the cliff, another bus comes and crashes into us and throws us both clear of it.
Yeah.
And all of our friends we just met died.
Yes, they escaped the infection only to die like this. There's no time to grieve.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have grieved.
Sure isn't, bud. Sure isn't, Leon.
Yeah. Something I like, we have this section where you have to go through this graveyard to reach the cathedral. And you can fall in open graves.
Yep.
It's raining and dark here. You'll always do it, and there's always a zombie down there.
Yep.
Very funny.
Yeah. I can never not run into these things. Again, atmospheric as shit, right?
Yeah,
like,
it does look really good.
Not original. It is definitely like darker, like more dramatic and shadowy than the RE4 kind of graveyard here. But, we're doing cool Resident Evil shit going up here. And also, like, you don't have to deal with the zombies as you're running past. You can just kind of run to, get past them. That also was an option.
Yeah. Eventually you get up to there's a dog. You have to chase it and shoot it. So you go up through the graveyard, then you have to go back through it as it runs from you.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like. And then you get separated from Helena and you fall into this maze of crypts. This is one of the sections where you have legitimately different gameplay. When you're playing the single player, you only get to do one of these things.
Yes.
Sometimes, and later, even in this campaign, it'll be sniper covering. Sometimes it's one person has to work a crank while the other person holds off enemies, things like that. Real co-op, basic building blocks of co-op shit.
Yeah.
And single player, you just kind of go through it yourself. So you just go through a maze of crypts.
It's at its worst when it's just like, oh, I'll give you a boost up here, and then you're just kind of hanging around while the AI is going and doing the thing. Yeah,
whatever the lighter character is of the two, got to go up into a thing. Usually the lady, but sometimes the peers.
Sometimes the peers.
Yeah,
yeah.
Doing my part, sir.
Chris Mander. Yeah,
yeah. So you reunite, and the guy in the church says, "I'm not going to let you in until you kill those zombies are out there." We just fucking did this. You kill a bunch of zombies until you're eventually led into the church. Yes. And this is where the survivors have kind of hunkered down.
And they've got like a little triage unit in there. They've got a pretty good thing going on that we are very directly going to mess up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leon being a credulous fucking dullard who's constantly, when Helena's just like, no, just a little bit further, then I'll tell you the information. And him just being like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. We just have to get these statues on these plinths, and then I'll tell you.
Yeah. We just need to shoot these bells, and then I'll tell you.
Yeah. We place these statues on plinths, and then go to the secret part of the church, which is a series of challenge rooms here.
Yeah. This is double dare nonsense. You are in these like two, like it's like basically hallways of these individual rooms. Each of them has a number of statues that will pop out of the wall that are like hooded old men with laser crossbows. I'm really here for this. Yeah.
This is good Resident Evil stupid.
This is that stupid that I need.
You knock them, you go and press a button at their base like the Whack-A-Gator game at the arcade. So you have to run back and forth while dodging laser sight crossbows. No explanation for why this was in the cathedral. Remember when Resident Evil used to do that kind of thing? They'd be like, oh, Chief Irons made the precinct confusing because he wanted to set it up for Umbrella, or he was hiding ammo around just in case people needed it. There used to be explanations for this shit. Why there are robot crossbow statues here is never explained.
Yeah. I'm into it.
I'm in. Yeah, it's very Resident Evil 4. Like I'm into it too, but it's real silly.
Yeah. So you've got to get up onto the roof and then shoot at these 5 bells. There's a little poem on a plaque. And Leon says, "Oh, I feel bad shooting these antiques."
Yeah. Shoot. This opens up the way into the secret sanctuary in the bottom of the thing, and this new new monster appears, the Lepotita, here, which is what caused this outbreak.
Yeah.
It is a big lactation monster, like a big humanoid covered with boobs that spew out gas that turn the survivors into zombies.
Yeah. And like this is like a failure to make the perfect Ada. Like this is very specifically supposed to be like a feminine design covered in these pimples that is, deployed in order to get as much of this C virus gas out as possible.
Yes. It's kind of a boss fight. And it's an interesting boss fight because you just saved all these survivors. It's kind of dynamic. Like when the gas gets to the survivors, they'll turn into zombies. You'll fight kind of a varying amount of zombies depending on how quickly you deal with this.
Yes.
This is a cool boss fight.
I like it.
It's
much more mobile than you think it would be. Like you're kind of chasing this thing around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's mostly playing keep away just to get its gas on stuff. It's not really aggressive. It makes the environment, this whole room full of survivors, the encounter. This is actually an encounter as well.
Yeah.
With the pews and stuff. Like this works. This is good.
It's good. More of this.
Yeah. Way more of this.
Yeah. But not really any survivors after I'm done with this. Oh, oops. Oh, well.
We're not going to get more of this.
No. So we go down the stairway that the Lepotita came up.
And we have to do the puzzle. We have to do this thing where we have to open up doors using the process of elimination.
Yeah.
There are 3 digits, 0, 1, and 2 that can be used for these doors. We just put into the controller which one to open.
Yeah.
You're going to open all the bonus ones because you want to get the stuff in there. And sometimes the label of the door will have something marred to use process elimination. A little tasky. It's fine. This is where Helena admits that she's been lying to us this whole time.
Yeah, stringing us along.
She's stringing us along. She's not really doing this because she wants to tell us the secret reason why she killed the president. She's doing it because she's looking for somebody named Deborah.
Yes. So like this is a lab, right? Like we're opening up these cells, but I love how filthy it is. Like it's basically,
really
it's a level out of Condemned criminal origins.
It does have criminal origins.
But you eventually, after you open up all of these cells and get through, Leon finds a tape that is labeled "Happy Birthday, Ada Wong." Ada has not been a factor so far.
It's a real non sequitur.
Yes. And you watch this. It's a tape that is labeled something about the C virus, and it shows this cocoon, kind of like a person-shaped cocoon that erupts open, and then a naked, slimy Ada Wong kind of emerges from it.
Yes. And you're like, oh, she was a clone, or she was a slug or a monster this whole time. There's precedent for that. Wesker had superpowers and stuff. Like, we don't really know very much about Ada Wong.
No.
Helena's like, I don't know what to do. I guess we just have to keep going.
Yeah.
Like, your characters go forward because they have no reason not to. We have to do this thing where we kind of leapfrog to drop these cages across these chasms in a room, going back and forth. In single player, this is really bland. You're just waiting for the person to come press the button. And eventually we escape into a disposal chute, which drops us down into mines. Ruins here, where we find Deborah, who's Lena's sister.
Yes. And she's unconscious, just kind of laying there. Leon demands, like, hey, tell me what's going on right now. And Helena says, well, we've got to escape.
And it's not a very strong demand, Leon. He's willing to cede any ground for any reason for this. And we're in the back half of Resident Evil 4.
Yes.
Or the back Resident Evil 5 as well did a lot of this Indiana Jones shit.
Yes.
Here. Moving through these ruins, we're going to find out later, this is the family's compound.
Right. Like this whole ruins complex. And the family, like Simmons, it's the Simmons family that runs this. In addition to being, the shadowy Illuminati kind of thing. This is so fucking ridiculous. You go so deep. And the fact that I could kind of see some of these ruins, maybe beneath Europe where there's been a bunch of time here, you finding all of these zombies
under Massachusetts.
Under Massachusetts in medieval armor and stuff.
Fucking the festival.
Yeah. And
shit.
like all of the primitive statues that are like looming over the gigantic caverns and stuff.
It's real silly. This is around when we're, halfway through this. This is around when this feels like it should have been ramping up to an end.
Yeah.
We do a boss fight and then we get another one after that. Like it just keeps going.
Yes.
Resident Evil 6 is the most like you nut and she keep going game of all time.
you nut and then it keep nutting. Like,
yeah, and just and nut until you're just pumping dust.
Yeah, you're a mummy. Yeah.
Like that's the sound of the cum shots you're doing. That's all you got.
Yeah.
Dick queefs. Like just that's all you got.
Dick queefs, private eye.
Yeah. Hello.
But yeah, we're doing Indiana Blown's Blighttown stuff. And the C virus, kind of like the G virus, it has started to raise these long dead, desiccated corpses. And for this first part, Helena is carrying Deborah. We have to protect her.
I imagine a real blast in co-op.
Yeah.
To be playing Helena there. We move some crates here. We reach this really big arena. And Deborah bursts into flames and turns into a chrysalis.
Yeah.
Then she comes out and then Monster Deborah comes out. This is where it is nude. This is where like the camera is definitely pretty male gazy on the Deborah monster ass.
Shiny Deborah ass.
Yeah. I do not like these poses and stuff. It is uncomfortable.
And she can't, like, she's not talking. She's just doing something that's kind of like halfway between like monster shrieks and like sexual cooling, like moans kind of stuff.
There is a moaning angle to it.
Yeah.
There. Helena reaches out to touch her hand and Ada shoots her with a crossbow.
Yeah.
So Ada is here. Leon is surprised to see Ada. And Helena does a standoff. There's a lot of somebody showing up and characters pointing guns at each other in this game.
It's so absurd.
When they do actually meet. It's really absurd.
Yeah. So we've got to deal with Deborah now.
Yes. Ada will not explain things, just as it's complicated. Deborah mutates further and gets these, she does an animation where she jumps up to the side of the arena, kind of touches her pussy. And this makes spider legs crawl out of her back, which each have weak points.
Yes.
On them. It's a really unimaginative boss fight. And it feels very non-dynamic. Her jumping up onto these ledges we can't get to felt like a boss fight in like an arcade rail shooter.
There's a lot of this that feels like arcade rail shooter, like even down to like the incidental, like the people that you run into.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who come out and just to die.
Yeah.
And come out to, this boss fight sucks. It's not very fun and it's grossly sexualized.
Yeah. Just jumping around, mostly playing keep away. You just have to, not get knocked down and then be up and have enough ammo to fire when her weak points are out.
A big part of the overall game structure play of this that had a far reaching impact is that because it is not concerned with survival horror, it's not concerned about ammo conservation generally. Almost every boss has unlimited spawning ads to give you ammo. So guys just kind of arrive. Like when you talked about zombies literally falling from the sky, it's not the first time.
No.
They just fall in. Like the dungeon master drops some zombies in there so you can kill them and get some stuff.
Yeah. And also because no boss fight in this is just an encounter, it has to be this thing that is ambiently going on, through these different, kind of action set pieces, like you're just kind of doing damage until they decide you need to move on to until the phase breaks, until you go on to the next thing. A problem that this game has throughout is a real lack of feedback for like if you are doing the right kind of damage to progress this.
Yeah.
I can shoot the weak spots and a leg will go away, but then the leg just kind of grows back. Should I be aiming for center mass here? Am I trying to work through her supply of legs?
Yeah, there's no way to know because you just play until it decides to move you on to the next thing.
You just play
and
you just play until the floor breaks. Yeah.
Every boss, all the bosses, the Whopper and the La Botita thing we fought before, those are just going to become recurring enemies.
Yes.
Like those aren't really bosses. Every boss in this game goes on forever. Has like 6 phases.
Yeah.
Fucking feels like. You get through this, we're fighting, the floor breaks. So we're going on to the next phase. Ada gives you a ring. And you seem like that's, it seems romantic because they have history. She says, don't misinterpret it.
Yeah.
And then we decide to climb down some more walkways until we reach the next arena to fight Deborah.
Yeah.
Deborah again touches the magic bean and grows new arms and we shoot her claws. Then she breaks the floor again, phase 3. Ada and Helena end up on this lift and we have to keep up with them as it descends, running around.
Yeah.
Again, that asymmetrical play. They're on an elevator sequence. We're on a running around a big spiral.
Yeah. And they're trying to deal with the zombies who are dropping onto the elevator, right?
Yes. We catch up and we all get on a minecart. So we have the minecart boss fight. And we're riding it. Helena keeps popping up on the front and we have to duck under obstacles or blow them up. And then also blow up explosive barrels while shooting Helena, who jumps from either side of the minecart.
Yes. Eventually we crash and Helena is dangling from this ledge and Deborah is advancing on her. At some point here, you get the sniper rifle. And you have to, land shots on Deborah until it decides, okay, she's done. If she reaches Helena, then both of them fall over and it's game over.
Game over because we need Helena. Deborah, you shoot her enough. Eventually, she falls off the cliff. Helena grabs onto her hand. They're dangling over the abyss, and she's freaking out.
Yeah.
Helena promises revenge and lets her sister fall into the pit.
Yeah. Throughout all of this, she's been trying to talk sense into this shrieking, gooey sex woman.
Shrieking goo, weak point monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally, just like as she's dangling there going, "Arr, arr."
You're still you.
Yeah.
Still good. This is 3 phases. And all those things. This is the shortest amount of phases of any boss.
And it still encompasses half of this chapter.
It fucking sucks. She falls and we get a flashback here to Helena and Deborah tied up in a cell. Simmons orders Deborah taken away. And Helena begs saying, I'll do anything. Take me.
Yeah.
And because Simmons had this leverage on her, she's the one who ended up helping Simmons breach the president's security. That's how she's responsible.
Right. And so she holds herself responsible. And Leon's like, well, that's different. And Ada says like, hey, we're up against the people who really run this country. And then grappling hooks away, which is it's Ada.text.
It's her move. It's funny.
Yeah.
Hunnigan eventually gets through to Leon, and Leon says, tries to warn her about Simmons, but Simmons is right there. So Simmons takes over the communicator, doing his villain speech with his big stupid thumb ring.
Yes.
Surely you know that you're suspects.
And there is no evidence that you are not responsible immediately for and just what evidence do you have that I have anything to do with this?
It was a zombie outbreak. There's no way we could confirm that with the president's body.
Yeah.
You would certainly be blamed for this. What? The fucking 90% of the population of the town turned into zombies.
Yeah.
I've heard you're a good friend of the president. I've heard that about you too.
It's been 30 years.
Real stupid. They have no evidence though, so they're going to get revenge on Simmons.
Yes. And it keeps going. There is more catacomb.
I can't believe it. I can't believe this chapter exists.
This needs to be cut so badly. I do not care about this fish.
Yeah, this gigantic shark thing that we're going to fight sucks so goddamn bad. So Leon and Helena, say, okay, these ruins belong to Simmons. His lab was on top of them. And she asks Leon, hey, can we trust Ada? And Leon says, it's complicated.
Yeah.
So fucking sick of hearing that.
Yeah.
Somebody give an answer. Just stop saying it's just complicated.
Please.
If you want me to keep shooting zombies with you, we have to do something.
Provide answers. Say she kind of does the double cross thing all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a fair weather friend, probably trust her more than Simmons.
Yes. Yeah. Has helped me more than Simmons in the past.
Yes.
So, we're now in Bumpo's House of Tricks. The Indiana Jones stuff has gone to like blade traps and flames and stuff.
Sen's Fortress now.
Yeah. And we've got skeletal zombies that have dynamite.
Yep. We're back to suicide zombies.
Yes.
We reach a door. This will only unlock if you have proof that you're part of Simmons' family. And it takes our characters an infuriating long time to go, oh, the ring that Ada gave us, and push that through. And this starts this process to unlock. So we have a little timed mission here of zombies coming down in medieval armor. This is something that does not work in single player very well.
No.
There's a little switch you can pump that will make a flamethrower go down the hallway.
Yeah.
And that's satisfying in co-op because one person is doing that to keep, and you're protecting them while you do it. Otherwise, this ends up just being a big messy scrum where you put bullets in the pile.
Yeah.
Because your co-op partner won't protect you or work the handle.
Yeah. And it's an interesting risk reward thing in co-op because you have to coordinate. You do not want your partner to get engulfed in the flames. So it's like, okay, get them in position. And then when I tell you, get out of there because, I'm going to start the gout and then we're going to clean up the rest. It is a cool scenario, the likes of which you saw quite a bit in Resident Evil 5.
Yep. But it does not work here.
Right.
Next, we do another kind of co-op obstacle course where we're taking turns turning cranks to open the way for each other. I don't know how the family got through this ordinarily. Sometimes zombies operate the traps and their own cranks. They're getting smarter.
Yeah.
Sometimes the crank is missing. We have to find the crank.
Yes. Stop saying the word crank.
Yep. Then when a trap drops us even deeper into the ruins, we are ludicrously deep into the earth at this point.
And at the end, when you just wash out on the surface of the ocean.
Yeah, I love it. The elevation of Tall Oaks or whatever. It's like the tallest place in the world.
Yeah.
We built this small New England town on the top of America's tallest mountain.
So we're washed deeper into the ruins and we pick up an assault rifle here. Fine weapon. I wish that it was possible to do any kind of customization on it. I miss weapon customization. Yeah.
Me too. I like that. Generally, this is good in terms of, since you're mostly putting bullets into the pile.
Yeah.
This puts a lot of bullets into the pile. This is an effective weapon for the game they designed around it.
Yes. Yeah.
I think. Helena gets separated by this falling pillar, and we have to cover her with sniper fire while she opens the path forward for us. Co-op classic. The walkways start collapsing, and we have to outrun this while zombies are on the way. We get to run from them. Again, another one of these things. Just keep moving forward.
Just move. Just keep moving. Keep moving.
Yeah. Stop playing the game.
Yeah. And then we fall into a flooded part of the ruins, and we have to swim for this exit, trying to find it while also finding the air bubbles to go up into. Nice and tense. A breath meter, works in this. What doesn't work is the big enemy that is down here, which is a huge zombie shark, just stealing as much valor from Del Lago as it can. Yeah.
Del Lago and the crocodile.
Yeah.
From RE2. It's a big QTE to fight it. It's not actually a fight. It's all a QTE kind of battle. We have to button mash to swim away from it while Helena shoots it. Shoots the parasite inside it until eventually a big slow motion gunpowder barrel flies at it as we're going down a water slide. And we shoot that. And you're, again, just over the top Waterworld stunt show shit.
Yeah. It is so funny. Whenever there is one of those things like the slow motion gunpowder barrel, just to let that fail. Okay, it really wants me to shoot that thing. Just let it go. And then just see that.
One of the things we didn't talk about is the checkpointing. This is actually pretty generous.
Yes. Yeah.
And you restart with full health. That is kind of not a slap in the face. That is another design decision that is emphasizing that they do not care about resource.
Kind
of management. That's not a concern for this. It is oftentimes, if you are low on health, rather than using a very valuable healing item, it is better just to die.
Yes.
And just get shunted back just a little bit and save your healing items for bosses.
That's not an option if you care about the end of chapter grade.
Yes.
Why would you?
Because you're supposed to just be popping in.
Yeah.
Love to play some RE6 for a little while today. I'm going to pop in to see what's going on in Jake's campaign and just play a little Jake. I love to play Jake 3.
Commiserate about Simmons with strangers.
Yeah.
This guy
strangers
sucks.
hate Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't talk to each other while you're doing it. You assume everyone's just thinking he sucks.
Yeah. So you emerge on the surface after descending literally miles. And planes have flown in to sterilize Tall Oaks. This is now common. Hunnigan says, hey, Simmons left for an airport. He's headed to China.
Yep. He's heading to the second of 3 locations we're going to spend this game in.
Yeah.
And she says, listen, we saw monsters that match this. They matched this outbreak 6 months ago in Eastern Europe, kind of foreshadowing the Chris chapter, the prequel. It seems like Leon would know this. Leon asks Hunnigan to fake their deaths. And I love that. She's like, okay. Like, just like
standard protocol. Yeah.
Done. Because they're going to China. And it continues. It really feels like it would end here. And you would come in the final chapter where everything comes back together.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just alluded to that outbreak 6 months ago in Eastern Europe. You don't play it now, though.
No.
You do the end of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so wild. Where we're in chapter 4. Sitting on this absurd luxury plane that only exists in video games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah.
So we're on this plane. Helena says, ask why you didn't turn her in. And you say something about partners.
Yeah.
Fucking catching Chris disease. We find out that they have a Lepotita in the cockpit. They find there who's killed the pilots.
Yeah.
It just happened to be on the plane. Would have checked.
Yeah.
Could have checked. Be very hard not to check.
Yeah.
It's a 7 foot tall titty monster.
Yeah. Kind of hard to miss.
This is post 9/11. How did that thing get on?
I don't know. Did 9/11 happen in the RE universe? I know
great question.
The War of Terror did. The War on Terror did. So
if the War on Terror did, probably.
Yeah.
If not, we have to head over to AO3 and do our own spin-off. Because imagine how zombies would have changed 9/11.
Yeah, just Wesker, a single tear sheds, Dr. Doom style.
Yeah, exactly. All of the villains show up. There's like a licker who's like lifting up rebar with its tongue, lifting off people.
Nemesis, just down there,
Nemesis help.
And Nemesis help, high-fiving Kevin Conroy.
Yeah. And then we find out that, Red Umbrella has claimed responsibility for it. This is a good idea.
Yeah,
that's what they need to do with the remake of RE6.
Yeah. I'm sure that was
the real world.
Yeah, they really need to. So yeah, we have to deal with this monster. Leon always has it. You don't suppose that thing could fly the plane, do you?
Yeah, and great healing, please. Helena does not respond to his jokes at all. I wish there was a Tumblr that just compiled villains helping out on 9/11.
Oh yeah.
I wish there was because I just imagine, I was thinking of this funny Resident Evil scene, and I just remembering like Bowser and the Koopa Troopas like all carrying people on stretchers and shit. Even I put this aside, paisano. I may be trying to get the princess, but this is unconscionable.
I'd never do anything of this magnitude. Yeah.
Mamma mia, we know you wouldn't, Bowser. I don't know. I want to see all of the villains. Team Rocket helping out.
You know what I bet would actually address 9/11 in the Resident Evil universe? One of those fucking CGI movies.
Yeah, Degeneration 2.
This is the closest. This is the closest that the actual main series gets to the quality of those CGI movies.
100%.
Yeah.
This feels like Degeneration or something.
Yeah.
So we fight this monster on the plane, and then head to the tail of the plane where we had to kick it out.
Yeah.
Again, it's another Resident Evil greatest hits.
Yeah.
There's another one down here, and again, it's shadowing the fight in Code Veronica.
Yes. Have to stun it and then turn the crank to open the hatch to vent it. But this one is gassed. And when we get back up to stop the plane from crashing, it's different than when we pass through. All of the crew and passengers have been zombified.
Yep. So we have to do QTs to stabilize the plane and not crash it.
Yeah.
But you do crash it. And we find who's there but Sherry and Jake.
We got to hold each other at gunpoint for no reason.
Yep. Kind of see the stuff. Sherry is very surprised to see Leon. Kind of surprised Leon's not more surprised to see fucking Sherry.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is what you just, huh. I thought therapy and then like a marine biology degree or something.
Yeah. I kind of just pictured you still in a very small room with electrodes attached to you as they tried to study. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Huh. And this is where we find out, we're like, we got to go get Simmons. She's like, no, Simmons is a good man. He's my boss.
Yeah. And Jake gets all Papa Wolfy about Sherry and just like getting in and it's kind of like mad dogging Leon.
Yes. There is Jake and Sherry's relationship is implied to be romantic on some level in this. He is supposed to be so hot, kind of like a Carlos or like a, who's the guy in Resident Evil 0?
Oh, the Billy. Yeah.
Billy. Yeah. Kind of like a Billy thing.
Yeah.
It's hard for me not to think of Sherry as a real little kid, even though she's supposed to be in her low 20s.
Yes.
Now, Leon is meant to be 36.
Yeah.
In this. just for the age stuff. But yeah, Jake is very protective, and it's weird. They're all getting ready to fight. This is because all the protagonists of this game can smell the Wesker on Jake.
Oh yeah, maybe
he gives off big Wesker energy.
But Leon and Chris are like nearly kill each other
They
later
do
too.
nearly kill each other. That's over Ada.
Yeah, that is over Ada.
That's it, but it's still stupid. Like, you're not wrong. It's just they explain it. It's, the same thing just keeps happening in the game. There's just an explanation for it. It's still bad storytelling that just keeps happening in the game.
Just drama. We need to have these known characters have each other at gunpoint this entire time.
Yeah.
All of this is broken up by our first encounter with the Nemesis guy, with Ustanak. A big Hulk-like thing that has a mechanical arm that he can swap out different attachments for.
Yes. He does not look like a Resident Evil monster to me.
No.
There's too much machinery going on with Ustanak. Also, it sucks to fight the Ustanak now. Like, if you played the other campaign, you played Jake and Sherry's campaign, you've been being chased by the Ustanak at this point. This feels like such a fucking non sequitur.
Yeah.
In Leon's campaign, like, oh, this thing is a thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's just, and you get quips like Jay's like, oh, it's like an old girlfriend who doesn't know when to give up. And it's like, oh, welcome to the club. You get used to it. Like,
it's a shame that Leon and Jake don't talk more, because they get along.
They would really get along. And this Jake guy really seems like he belongs in this club with all of these established and well-loved characters from the franchise.
It's fucking Poochie. So it's a 4-player fight. Other players from other games could fight with you. You shoot the Ustanak. Eventually, Sherry and Leon get separated, and you have to hotwire this bus to crash into the arena to fight the Ustanak. Ustanak replaces a mechanical arm with another arm and continues to attack. We fight him until this radio tower falls and separates us again. And Sherry says, oh, we have to, here's the building where I'm supposed to meet Simmons.
Yes.
So you can go there.
When Ustanak replaces his arm, like, wait a minute, he can do that? The question I wanted them to ask was, where's he keeping the spares?
He just picks it up off the ground. He makes one out of whatever he finds. Ustanak doesn't play by our rules.
No. Ustanak is on-site procurement.
Yeah. We didn't unlock the Ustanak file by shooting enough tiny little medallions.
No, not at all. So we're in a market now. We're on the streets of this fictional Chinese city. And we reach this door that is locked with 3 locks. And a new monster attacks. I didn't get the name of this. It's a floppy guy who kind of recalls the Leech Undead from RE0. He's
like a version of that plus the Regenerator.
Yeah.
And guys in Revelations. There are Revelations guys like this. A floppy, gross monster, which you can't totally kill. One nice touch of this guy is that his arms will be alive on their own. So they have little arm fellows running around. They get to like pick up and stomp.
Yeah.
And things. But mostly you want to avoid him because he comes back to life. It's like the Regenerators, but without the weak point.
Yes. And you're moving around in this market trying to unlock the way to get all of these disparate keys.
Yep. Eventually you do take care of him in a real Gremlins way. You feed him into a meat grinder. That's fun.
Yeah.
We see Ada, but she grapple hooks away.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Ada has shown up in 2 different outfits. There is red Ada, and there is Ada in a blue outfit with a red scarf.
Yeah, there's blue Ada and red Ada, like there's red umbrella and blue umbrella.
Yes.
It's subtle. And it relies on us knowing that. This is portrayed as like a cool twist when we find out what that is. Yeah. We know it's a fucking clone because we saw the Happy Birthday Ada tape. Like it's not a twist, but it's still treated as like a revelation.
Yeah. Guess who it is? Somebody you've never met before.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is just, it's very, the component parts of the story are told in the wrong order.
Yeah.
For dramatic impact.
No matter which order you play it in, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it does not work. The story deinterlaced, after I did it, I read the story deinterlaced. And to get those things for the files, because fuck me if I'm going to like shoot all the little tokens to get all those. And that's where I realized like, oh, it's not just a poorly told story. It's not a good story. So we follow Ada, we chase after her. And we go into this warehouse that's actually a secret lab. This is where we run into Chris and Piers, and they get in their gun standoff. She lures us all into a room.
No, that's later.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you're missing the
I forgot about her death Roombas.
The Roomba chamber.
Yeah, I forgot about the second or the first of 2 Roomba chambers we'll be doing in this game. Ada Wong and her exploding Roombas.
Yeah, where she just locks you into this room and says like, "Well, I'll keep you busy. Enjoy my little friends." And then like little Roombas that explode if they like just trundle up to your feet, and if they stay still, and you have to like deal with those while your partner is trying to do QTE stuff on the computer.
Yes. Yeah. There's precedent for little drones.
Yep.
Like you fought these in Resident Evil 4, but I always got the impression in Code Veronica they had drones as well. In 4, I always got the impression those were Krauser.
Yeah.
It's like Krauser tech. Just everybody having it. Silly. Yeah. This is where, we chase after her, and Chris and Leon end up in a standoff. Leon likes Ada. Chris wants to kill Ada for killing his men.
Kill my men.
Yeah, can't do it. Leon says, no, she's a key witness in the Tall Oaks incident. I really wanted Chris to be like, what? The fuck are you talking about? Like,
I'm talking about Edonia, you jackass.
Yeah, no, I was in a different game.
Yeah. She's working for Neo Umbrella. You know what that means? Yeah, I do.
No, you don't. Like you certainly don't. Ada throws a flash grenade and gets away.
Yeah.
Here. And Leon and Chris decide, listen, I guess we both want the same thing. And they split up. The BSAA is going to go after Ada. Leon's going to go after Simmons.
Yeah. Chris, I know you'll do the right thing. You were just pointing guns at each other.
Idiots. So we head out back to this tower where Sherry was going to meet Simmons. And Simmons' men ambush us. Shake and Jerry. Sherry and Jake also are here. And this is where Simmons just admits that he's the villain.
Yeah. I did it, but I did it for the good of the country. Talking about how the balance of power would be upset if that information came out. The president is nothing. It is the family that organizes everything. Again, the family that is only mentioned in the text, like the actual spoken text of this game once.
Yeah. I wish they just said Illuminati.
Yep.
This being a whole different thing is silly. So that's the motivation for him doing this. The president was going to whistle blow. Can't have that.
Nope.
Sherry gives Leon a chip with information that might stop the C virus here. And Simmons gets darted by a guy in face paint.
Oops, dart in your neck.
Dart in your neck. There's a guy in face paint in play now.
You've never seen this, so just a random juggalo?
Yeah, a juggalo comes and takes him out. Working apparently for Ada. Implied. She got me. Well played. And he stumbles and falls on top of a passing train. And we do a very long. Oh, is this the train with the boss fight?
Yeah, this is the train.
This boss fight straddles 2 chapters.
Yeah, it takes 2 whole chapters that you're dealing with Simmons, who has been C virus mutated. Yeah.
Yes. Sucks.
So we jump down and we catch up to him, and he's listening to this message from Ada saying, I'm just making you into the monster that you always were, you and the rest of the planet.
Yeah. I am so bored by I'm going to take the planet with me because life sucks.
Yeah.
As a motivation. It is not a good villain motivation. Simmons says, I had to stop the president from disclosing the truth because it would destabilize the world if they knew that we had something to do with this.
Yeah.
And he gets really stressed out, and he does this enough to ignite and transform into like a wolf horse.
Yeah, a wolf horse monster thing. The effect of Simmons, like his human form kind of being broken up into those segmented things and then like spinning, like to reassemble as he goes around. That is a super cool monster, like visual effect.
I like that effect a lot. It doesn't look like a monster. It doesn't look biological to me.
No.
It looks, it reads as cybernetic.
It's mechanical.
What the mask does in Total Recall. So it's real weird. It does not read as Resident Evil. Like it looks good, but it doesn't seem very Resident Evil to me.
Yeah. So now he's a big wolf horse kind of thing.
Yep.
And we are attempting to deal with him, just sinking bullets in until he decides we're moving on to the next phase.
Yep. We shoot him up on the roof. It seems like he's down, but he gets up. Keep count. We shoot him again. He throws Leon onto a neighboring train. So we have to outrun him, continue as he runs forward. We go back to the first train, and he starts firing bone shards at us with a machine gun from his body.
Yeah.
That's a thing he can do.
Yeah.
We shoot him again until he stops.
It is so funny how Leon catches a full clip of those later.
It's really good. Yeah.
But yeah, we're dealing with him at a distance. We're dealing with him up close. He goes down, he comes back. And then finally here he mutates again, and Helena gets a lucky shot in on his forehead, which is like part of this scorpion tail thing now.
Yeah. Apparently a weak point.
Yeah.
Cause then he goes down for a minute and goes, how could my family abandon me?
Yeah.
And then he dissolves and derails the train. He's not done.
Yeah.
We wash up on a shore. There are a bunch of soldiers escorting civilians to safety. Seems like the outbreak is over.
Yeah.
Hunnigan radios in to say that Sherry has been abducted and taken to an oil field 80 miles away.
Man, that's fast.
That's super fast. Just happened.
Yeah. I literally just saw her. And Helena remembers, this virus. Sherry gave us a way to deal with it, and she puts it into her little future phone, and it's just JPEGs of Jake.
Yeah,
there's just some glamour shots of Jake.
It's like in the I Think You Should Leave the Ponytail sketch where he's just taking screenshots of cigars, and she's just flipping through hundreds of them. That's basically what he has here. So Jake is the key. Jake's got super blood.
Yeah.
Helena notices, there's something in the sky coming towards the city. Chris calls and says, get the hell out of there. It's a missile hitting the city, releasing a big blue cloud of C virus.
This is badass. Like this hitting and then the cutscene of the cloud kind of overtaking and the chaos here. You mentioned this sells the scale. Like this is full scale in a way that could not have been really delivered upon.
Yes. Looks good. Looks real neat. In terms of play, it's not very reactive.
No.
It is entirely set piece. Like when that stuff is happening, you are in a mildly interactive cutscene, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Entering into chapter 5, which somehow is still going.
Leon radios Chris, who's flying this jet over an ocean, saying, hey, Jake is Wesker's son. Wait a minute, Wesker? Yeah, Wesker. Yeah. That's right, Don Brodka. And he has the antibodies for the virus. Like, you need to go to this oil field and rescue him.
And Chris says, I need to tell you, Ada's dead. Them kind of calling every once in a while to tell each other one line of what happened in their plot. Very silly. So we run through these buildings with a military escort. Eventually get into a truck and have to drive through this foggy, zombie-choked street.
Yeah.
For a little while.
You're just riding and watching the scenes through the fog. It's real, like, haunted house ride kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's cool, though. I'm fine.
Yeah, I like it, too.
Yeah.
Until a fuel tanker crashes and explodes.
Yes.
And Ada looks on from a helicopter and fires at the zombies surrounding us, helping us.
Yes.
There.
This is Red Ada.
Yes. In case you haven't picked it up, which Ada is which.
Yeah. Also, this Ada is not dead. The other one apparently is.
It takes a lot of the impact having Ada show up immediately after being told she's dead. Being told she's dead and then finding out later she's alive would be like a twist. It happens 2 seconds later.
It's really just a parody of Ada Wong.txt.
Yeah.
Like the amount of whiplash.
If it were meant to be funny, it'd be really good.
Oh, yeah. If it was an intentional joke, yeah. Also kind of funny, even presented straight.
Yeah. It's funny recounting it.
Yes.
In the moment, it just ends up feeling like it's meant to have an impact.
Yeah.
So we end up trapped in traffic, and this exploding jet sends this tidal wave of cars at us. So we run and jump onto this helicopter, and that helicopter starts crashing.
Yeah.
We end up smashing into a glass tower and nearly getting crushed here. Landing in this plaza that has the big umbrella logo on the floor. And then somehow Simmons returned.
Yeah. Simmons is back again doing his little like reconfiguration thing. And Ada shows up in this chopper, and Simmons accuses her of taking Jake away. Like, you took Jake, you used his blood to make the virus stronger. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so Ada is developing virus now. Huh.
Yes. Huh. Simmons mutates into a Tyrannosaurus. No joke. A big inside-out Tyrannosaurus. I do not like this monster design.
No.
It does not feel very Resident Evil to me. I would say generally too many of these things map onto creatures.
Yes. That's a problem with the C virus thing is like, oh, we can intentionally use animal DNA to make it into whatever. And that had always been the thing. Like there were always like, okay, the chimera is like housefly kind of deal. The fact that this is just a Tyrannosaurus does feel a little bit like it is. It does feel a little bit like it is out of ideas.
Him being a horse earlier too, like him galloping along with the train and stuff. Like it's just not as cool as bugs and, G-type viruses, like just big, eyeball monsters.
Yeah. I mean, and this is stealing some G-type stuff here because he has a big eyeball in his mouth.
Yeah. Big weak point. He charges around attacking us. We fight him on foot on these miniguns on the back of a Jeep. Ada's helping as well. From the copter here. Eventually he opens his mouth and we get to see the eye that we have to shoot.
Yes.
Ada stops firing when he goes down and heads up to the roof. He's not dead.
No.
This is phase what?
6?
Yeah. And we have a couple more. We go in this elevator. Helena surmises, you must have feelings for Ada. But before they can talk about it, the side of the building explodes and Simmons is back. We climb up this loose elevator cable while Ada is fighting Simmons, climbing the building.
Yeah. You do this fight as Ada in her campaign.
Yes.
Going from like platform to platform as he's, dragging you around. You eventually reach her and she's knocked out and you have to like revive her. And this is kind of this big tense moment because like Simmons is walking very slowly at you and you've got to, do the revive thing.
Simmons is big and he's not Tyrannosaurus Rex anymore.
No.
It'd be very funny if he still was doing the slow walk at you as a T-Rex.
He takes dude breaks.
Yes.
Yeah.
He goes back into human form. Ada says, Simmons doesn't take rejection well. And Leon says, is there backstory I should know? And I just want to be like, you don't need to know it, man.
Yeah, you don't need to know it. Also, what kind of game do you think Resident Evil 6 is where it will just tell you stuff?
Yeah, it's too complicated. I'll explain once we get to the cathedral. So Ada and Leon fight Simmons until he eventually gets Leon dangling off the edge, and Ada throws him down in the fire below. And you think maybe Simmons is dead. Simmons is not dead.
No, Simmons never dies. She zips away and sends Leon a text saying, hey, I wish I could stay, but I've got to go. I left you a parting gift on the roof.
Yes, which is a magical makeup compact that has data in it.
Yes. Also could be the helicopter, also could be the rocket launcher. She left a lot of gifts.
True. Yeah, she left him a whole gift pack. She left him a DLC download bundle.
Just basically, you just call as like a delivery service like every month. Just Ada gives you it's a blind box of Ada box. Yeah.
Leon, I left you a pre-order bonus. So we go up there. Simmons is still reassembling himself in that cyborg way. And he's consuming bodies to add to his mask until now he becomes a housefly.
This looks cool. I like Fly Simmons.
Cool. Yeah. Bugs is good.
Bugs is good.
Him being a T-Rex before this kind of fucks it up for me a little bit. And I am so done fighting Simmons at this point. I want to be done with fighting Simmons. I hate this boss fight. The pacing is horrible. Like there's no way to escalate any of this.
No,
I'm not more excited when this stuff comes back. And like this isn't true yet, but eventually every boss is going to do this.
Yes.
Just keep coming back. Typically, Resident Evil does this with their last boss. You think you killed them, you get on the train or whatever to leave, and then they're back and they're big form, and then you kill that one. They do it twice. This game does it like 5 times, 4 times. With 4 different bosses. It fucking sucks. Like it's really misguided.
Yeah.
Like it is a cool monster design.
Yeah.
But it is really misguided.
Yeah. So Big Fly, made of corpses, he attacks us on the roof up here. And he's protecting his eyes, the obvious weak point, with his mandibles. So we have to shoot off his legs in order to kind of face him, where he will drop his forearms, but then he will send out a little tendril to like eat a zombie to reconstitute the legs to kind of start this over, to start the process over again.
It's real tedious. A lightning rod falls onto the roof and we have to grab it and then fight him and then do a little QTE to stick one through a zombie that he's going to grab. So when he eats it, he gets zapped. The lightning strikes at that moment because he's eating a lightning rod zombie.
Yeah. The ease with which you slide the lightning rod through the torso of these zombies is very fun. There is no brutality to it. It's kind of like you're putting an umbrella in an umbrella holder.
Yeah, or you're skewering an olive with a toothpick. So this gets him, lightning strikes every time this happens.
Yeah.
He gets zapped. Deeply artificial and dumb. we do this enough times. He eventually goes down. We run to get up on the helicopter, but he's back. Mm-hmm. This time we shoot him with a rocket launcher. This is more just a cutscene kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it still counts. I'm still counting it in the tally.
Yeah. And after all of that punishment, it is the one Ada rocket launcher that does him in, because that is always the load bearing rocket tradition. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Simmons goes down. He kind of stumbles and then falls all the way back down into the plaza, kind of doing a golden eye. I almost said cable guy, but that is directly pulled from GoldenEye. He falls and like pierces his torso on this huge obelisk at the center of the Umbrella logo at the center of this plaza. And then all of his blood flows out and fills out the red from the Umbrella logo.
It's very symbolic.
Yeah.
If you like symbolism, this is it.
Uh-huh.
You will like this scene. Helena says, "That's for my sister."
Yeah.
And so much shit has happened at this point. I'm not thinking about your sister anymore.
No.
We're on the other side of the globe. We've been introduced to the little subplots from everybody else.
Millions of people are dead, Helena.
Yeah. It's very hard for me to think about your sister still.
Yeah.
So Ada left a little compact on the helicopter seat. Mm-hmm. And behind the makeup part of it, it has an SD card with photographic images of Simmons' guilt. Again, just JPEGs of Simmons. Give me pictures of Simmons. Give me pictures of Spider-Man. So now Leon and Helena can use this to get off the hook.
Yeah.
What fucking trial was going to be that would have determined they were responsible?
I have no
idea. Based on all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Have you considered it's this guy?
Yeah, the conspiracy needs somebody to go down, and it seems like the conspiracy would want Leon out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they can't do it now because they got JPEGs.
Yes.
Hunnigan says, listen, we found a way to defeat the virus.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Jake blood. They fly off and we get credits. We got post-credit scene. Helena is leaving flowers on Deborah's monster grave. Mm-hmm. And Leon and Hunnigan are there along with a bunch of agents.
Yes.
And Helena thinks she's about to be arrested, but Leon puts a gun in her hand. She's been hired instead.
Yeah. Like, hey, you're part of the team now. Hunnigan says, hey, the investigative committee, you're off the hook for this, and your involvement won't be disclosed. The president would have done the same.
I love how much this game loves the president.
President disclosure wouldn't have disclosed.
He loves disclosing. It's his main, it got him killed.
Yeah.
Disclosing his vitamins to him. President Whistleblower would have done it. Helena throws Ada's compact to Leon. She grabbed it at some point. For the next time you see her, and he goes, women, because they love to get their compacts back.
Yeah.
And then we get a ranking screen.
Yep.
Cannot imagine caring about my rank in a video game less than this. Mm-hmm. And then we get another scene of monsters attacking a city in the Middle East.
Yes. And this hooded guy asks a woman for an apple. We had a deal. He takes a bite out of the apple, throws off his hood. It's Jake out fighting monsters. It's time for the continuing adventures of Jake Muller.
Good guy, Jake. Jake Mueller eventually becomes, he starts as a cold-hearted mercenary, but now he only fights bad guys in exchange for apples.
Yes.
In a game we never got.
People try to tell him that money exists, but no. He says, I would just use it for apples anyway.
I was going to get $50 million worth of apples, but now I'll just do $50 worth of apples. I realized that actually gets you a lot of apples.
It gets so many apples. Yeah.
I didn't need I couldn't eat $50 million worth of apples before they went bad, even though I'm Wesker's son. I can eat apples very quickly due to my virus blood.
And then Jake Muller was never heard from again, unless it was in one of the CGI movies.
And there are probably people who are crawling for him to come back. We're going to talk about him. We're going to do his campaign.
Yeah.
And stuff. And once you cross a line where you can start laughing at him,
yes,
he can become funny. Mm-hmm. The tone of this game, we talked about, this is wrap up thoughts. We still have a whole other episode. Mm-hmm. We talked about the contrast between Lady Dimitrescu and Deborah is one of camp.
Yes. Camp.
Deborah. There's no camp here. You have to find the camp. Mm-hmm. The game isn't giving you the camp.
No.
You have to pretend that this is a comedy to get joy out of those bits.
I have to kill and field dress my camp on site.
Exactly. And that's not a Resident Evil thing.
No.
Resident Evil gives you the camp. It always has. This one doesn't. It is meant, this is by far the most tonally serious of these. while having like the most ridiculous plot. Like it doesn't, it's really awkward.
Yeah. Leon's campaign is the longest.
Yes.
That's why it made sense to talk about here. Also, probably going to be a little bit more zoomed out for the remaining campaigns.
It's interesting going through. I didn't know how coverage of this game would necessarily work until we did it. I feel like a little like, oh, we didn't talk about this mechanically enough. It's because there's in the individual encounters and bosses, there's not a whole lot to do.
No.
It all feels very samey. You put bullets in the pile. It doesn't have a feeling of tactical depth to it. So it probably will be a little zoomed out when we do the other ones and we explain, the actual plot of this and get to know our other characters.
Yeah.
But on top of the fact that like the entire Chris prequel is kind of superfluous to this thing, like it is a prequel that sets up some stuff, but it doesn't this is the story of Resident Evil 6. Like we basically did it. The other ones are guidance tales.
Yeah. And then
context,
Ada that ties everything together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it feels like the Chris and Piers campaign was like a Resident Evil 5-2.
Yeah. And they just decided to fold it in.
Yeah. You can have a modicum of fun with this, but it is fucking ridiculous and goes on too long.
Yes.
And we'll be back next week.
Yeah. So do we have a highlighted project this week?
Nope.
Okay.
No. If you're listening to this and you have if you are a marginalized person and you have a project or product you'd like us to shout out, please send me an email at Gary@Duckfeed.tv. Include pronunciation, pronouns, anything relevant, and a link.
Yep.
That we can do, and we'd be happy to do so.
Yeah. If you have thoughts on Satisfactory, Resident Evil 6, or this month's premium game, Ace Combat 4, Shattered Skies, go to duckfeed.tv/contact and write in by May the 15th. It's always the 15th that is the deadline for that. If you have thoughts about multiple games, separate them into multiple responses and keep them specific and concise.
Yeah. And if you have thoughts about June's games, which are The Last Door Season 2, Command & Conquer Red Alert 2, Yuri's Revenge, or Lost Kingdoms, write in as well. By the June 15th.
To get the full versions of Ace Combat or Lost Kingdoms, those go to our patrons.
Yes. You go to patreon.com/DuckFeedTV. Give us $5 a month. We know money's tight right now. $1.25 a week. We think it's a good entertainment budget price there. In addition to getting full, those premium episodes and whole bonus shows.
Yes.
Real Lich Hour is coming back very soon. All those archives. So all the Elden Ring and Sekiro and DLC, Bonfireside Chat, all that stuff is available.
Unfilmable. Coming up on like 80 episodes of that, I think.
Yeah. If you can't do that, please rate and review or subscribe on your podcast directory of choice. Tell your friends, talk about us in message boards and stuff. We do not advertise, so that's how people hear about us.
Yeah. And please join us in thanking our producer, Gwen.
Yeah, big thanks to Gwen. And until next time, what should they watch out for, Kay?
Watch out for women, am I right?
Watch out. What should they watch out for, poor Kay?